Whenever there is a cricket match between India and Pakistan, you always want India to win the match, isn't it? Tell me honestly. Whenever you hear the speech of any of the president of America, you will hear that one word, that is America first policy. Whenever you turn the pages of history, you will see that the countries in Europe, let it be Britain, Spain, Portuguese, France, etc. They wanted to exploit the resources of the other regions so that they become rich day by day. In all those activities, you will find one common thing, that their nation wants to be first. They want the nations to be successful. They want that their nation should be at top level, be it a cricket, be it the growth of the nation, or be it the world leaders. They want that the nation should be at first. We all want that. And from where this policy comes, from where this feeling comes, it comes from a word, that is nationalism. And here is the chapter, Rise of Nationalism in Europe. My dear class 10 students, welcome on the platform Diksha Vedantu CBSE English, and I am your SST faculty. Today we are going to complete this biggest target of your life. And what is that target? To complete the chapter, that is Rise of Nationalism in Europe, in a manner that you need not to study it again. You need not to struggle it in this chapter. Why? Because this video is going to be a complete package video for all of you watching me right now. It is not just NCERT discussion. It includes many things. And by many things, I mean PYQs, I mean lot of MCQs, I mean homework questions, I mean practice questions, and NCERT question solution too. So along with the theory, we will practice side by side those questions so that you can check whether I am teaching correctly or not, or whether you are learning correctly or not. So let's start. I just want one thing from all the students watching me right now. But it is not the task which we need to just complete and keep it aside. It is a task which will give you good marks in your SST exam. So sit on your study table, not over the bed, not on the bed where you just lie down in comfort zone writing nothing. No, I don't want that from you. Sit on your study table, take out your pen, take out your pencil, take the NCERT in front of you and take your copy. And start the video from what I am discussing. Write what I say, that this is important, write in your copy. This question will come, write that in your copy. Okay, so let us begin this chapter, that is Rise of Nationalism in Europe. Every time I teach you something, I always say that first and the most important thing is to decode its heading, that is Rise of Nationalism in Europe. We have to figure out two things. One is nationalism and the other one is Europe. But a class 10th student, see, learning history is not an easy task. And the more difficult task is when you have to learn the history of entire continent in just a single chapter. That scares us the most. But you know that they cannot put the entire events, but what they have done, they have put an outline of the, what we can say, some around 2 centuries of the time, where a feeling was getting built up, and that was feeling of nationalism. First, actually, what is nationalism, right? When we talk about nationalism, beta, it is quite different from patriotism. Like when I talk about this is a patriotic song. Why? Because that song make you feel what? To show your love towards a territory. When you sing a patriotic song, you're showing a love. Like when we sing song for our mother, we show love to her. Similarly, when we are singing a patriotic song, it is basically our form of love. So, you know, patriotism is an act by which you are showing love towards your nation. But what is that nation? Who are the members of that nation? That comes from a word, that is nationalism. Nationalism actually means that when you feel what? Belongingness to a territory. That by this is a territory from where I belong to, I have a feeling for it, and where I feel connected, belonging to this territory, this feeling is known as nationalism. But when you show by any way, by singing, dancing, anything, you show love towards that territory, that is patriotism. So if anyone asks you the difference between patriotism and nationalism next time, don't go blank. Don't go blank. The feeling that whenever there is India match with Pakistan, India should win. the feeling that whenever every reports come that we have this much ranking, that much ranking, we feel sad that why our happiness index is low, why our economic growth is low, right? Why can't we perform good in the freedom of press index, etc.? That is the feeling of nationalism, right? That is the feeling of nationalism. I hope you understood that. Now let us come towards the word that is Europe, a continent in the world that contain so many countries in which there are countries which are performing very good in the world right now. You know that there was no country, if we look back to the map at 200 years back. Why? Because there were kingdoms, there were dynasties, there were cantonments, there were different regions like it used to be in India. If we go back and see the map of India, some around 200 years back, you will see Marathas ruling in Maharashtra. You will see that Mughal dynasty ruling in Dilliwala region. There were Jats, there were Rajputs, there were Northeast dynasties and many more. But now we have what? India. In a similar way, in Europe, there were different kingdoms, there were different rulers, there were different dynasties. But then what happened? The feeling of nationalism came into picture. And then, beta, what we can see as today's map of Europe evolved day by day, year by year, feeling by feeling, which we have to complete in today's session. First of all, I will tell you the outline of this chapter and then we will see how we are going to study this chapter. So, beta, the chapter starts with a vision of Frédéric Sorrieu. So, he is an French artist, right, who made a painting, and the entire chapter is kahin na kahin somewhere, I got Hindi somewhere. So this entire chapter is somewhere revolving around the painting. Then we will study about the French Revolution. Yes, the same one in class 9, but in a different way, but in a different what? View. Then we have Napoleon, the rise of Napoleon, the administration by Napoleon. Then we will see about how actually did the feeling and why did the feeling of nationalism came among the people of Europe. We will talk about certain phenomena like liberal nationalism, new conservatism, the rise of revolution, age of revolution. We will talk about romantic imagination, the problem faced by Europeans in this particular year, 1848, and what led to unification of Italy, Germany, Britain, and then disintegration of the region of Balkans. Ending it with one more phenomena, that is visualizing the nation with the help of what? Female structure, like we have Bharat Mata. So this is actually the chapter all about. You can mark them as the important topics in this chapter, and this is what we have to study. Somewhere around there are 15 topics. Right? 15 topics. Now come to the point that how are we going to study this chapter, ma'am? Beta, how to study a chapter? Not only this chapter, right? Not only this chapter, beta. This is the sequence for every chapter which you are going to learn with me, with your Tanvi ma'am. How to study? First of all, we will take everything from NCERT. We will take everything from NCERT. NCERT is your God, your friend, your best friend, everything. Okay? I will explain everything from NCERT. Then, meanwhile, I will be explaining you. I will ask you to make beta compressed notes alongside. Compressed notes alongside. When we are done with any particular topic, we will solve some PYQs alongside. This PYQs first will be in the form of MCQs and then will be attached with a subjective question that came from the same topic in the last few years. At the end, when we move towards the end, what I want to tell you is to give, what is basically my task is to give you some practice questions that you will practice 2 questions a day. Right? There are around 10 questions, and I believe after 5 days you will be pretty confident that bhai, I am going to rock in this particular what? Chapter. Because who taught me this chapter? Tanvi ma'am. Beta, it's not just me, it needs effort from your side too. This is exactly the way we are going to study the chapter. And one more thing which I want to share with you, beta, we will be making notes here, not you. We are going to make the notes all together. I am also doing that task for you, and if you want that task, bhai, I want the PDF, ma'am, this is the page. The link is given in the description box. This is an AIO page made by Vedantu just for you. Just for you, where you are getting the courses at just ₹0. When you buy that course, this layout will be in front of you. This is for both class and 9th and 10th students. I am going to tell you for class 10th. So see, if this is the layout, you will see the schedule. It is not updated yet, but I am going to ask them to do so. So when we will see that, okay, like for example, this Master Geography Resource and Development was updated yesterday. Right? So you can get the smart notes, topic covered, as well as the quick associated with this chapter at the end. So when we are done with that, take the notes from there. When we are done with that, please practice it with the help of this quiz as well to check whether something went into your mind after hearing this long lecture of mine or not. And this is the way we will study the entire chapter. Link in the description box. Okay, so let us begin with the very first topic of the chapter, that starts with a dream which we actually usually see. And what is that dream? We did not see this dream. This is a person, a French artist, right? If you are someone who make paintings, if you are someone who love art, you will understand that sometimes when we make art, okay, when we do painting, it is actually the vision of ours. It is reflecting your vision. The similar seen in this painting. He is a French artist named as Frédéric Sorrieu. He made this painting in the year 1848. When did he make this painting? 1848. If you have the NCERT, please mark it right now. So this painting was made in the year 1848 by a French artist, Frédéric Sorrieu, who made the series of 4 prints visualizing the dream he is seeing. Arey bhai, what dream was he seeing? Beta, he was seeing the dream of a world that is democratic, social and republic. Now what is that? You know that by democratic means he wanted that there should be nations which are democratic, that their leaders are chosen by the people. The government is chosen by the people, not the leaders, sorry. Okay, so by democratic we mean that the government is chosen by the people. Right? Then come one more point, that is social. What is social? Right? What is social? Social here, socialist here means that the government should work for the society, that means for the people. And then comes the word republic, that the leader of the nation should come from people, elected by the people. Why? Why? Was it not the condition in Europe at that time? No. Like we did not choose Akbar as a ruler. Like we did not elected any ruler. We did not elected any British viceroy. They came as aristocratic, autocratic. They choose their power by themselves, isn't it? So in the same way in Europe, different kingdoms, aristocratic monarch or autocratic monarch who were not thinking about the people came into power, exploiting the people, and hence this vision was seen by Frédéric Sorrieu. How did he came with this vision? Was there any country which actually became democratic? Yes. But there were countries in the world at that time like USA, like Switzerland, which became independent, which became democratic. When we will see this picture now, we will analyze everything, right? See this, there is a long queue of people, right? Long line of people who are marching towards a place, and that is what? Statue of Liberty. Statue of what, beta? Liberty. Again an important word come here. What is liberty? Liberty means freedom. So people with long queue are coming and paying homage to a statue, that is Statue of Liberty. Please tell me in the comment section, where is Statue of Liberty right now? Right, Statue of Liberty, right? On its like left side you will see 2 countries, and that 2 countries is USA as well as Switzerland, which were already democratic. Other countries are coming, other countries I won't call it, the people are coming in long queue to pay homage to the Statue of Liberty. This Statue of Liberty holding a torch of enlightenment in one hand. Enlightened means knowledge. As well as the rights, Charter of Rights in another hand, because USA was the first country to give its citizens fundamental rights which were not existing in any country in other parts of the world. Later Switzerland gave it the same. And hence, they also want what? Liberty. They also want beta freedom. And how will it come? When the nation becomes democratic, social as well as republic. Right? You can see that on the earth lies the shattered remains. Broken remains of what? Broken remains of the symbols of absolutist institution, the absolutist monarch, which were not actually worried about the condition of the people. Okay, the older order destroyed. They wanted to show that by this Frédéric Sorrieu is showing that this older world is being destroyed. Now because people know about what freedom is, people are holding their national flags in their hand, demanding to form a nation. They wanted to form a nation, and here nations are identified by their flags, by their national costumes. USA and Switzerland, already nation state, lead the process. They are at the lead. This was the vision of Frédéric Sorrieu. This was the vision of Frédéric Sorrieu. Painting made in the year 1848. If you ask me that, ma'am, will the question comes from this topic? MCQs come from this topic very often. Very often. Right? I don't think that a long answer or explanation for this particular topic is going to become or very, very important. But yes, the theory to understand it is very important. But now, what is nation? We are since starting talking about nationalism, feeling of nationalism. By this nationalism, feeling is coming for what? For a state, for a nation, for a territory. What is that nation? What is actually that nation? By if we go back to the French Revolution you studied in class 9. For the French Revolution you studied in class 9, because it is not going to give you the reference of the entire Europe but a part of Europe. The same such situation was in entire Europe, that an old system is going on, right? Old system is going on, bacha. In this old system, there is an absolute monarch. Absolute monarch, I mean that all the power lies in the hands of monarch. Decision-making process lies in the hands of monarch. Right? The society is divided on the basis of social hierarchy. That means there is a king. There is a class of king referred as noble. There is a class of priest referred as clergies. And there are people, ordinary people, which lies in third estate. And hence the tax paying. Who are the taxpayers? Those, third estate. The others are enjoying. This older system was prevalent in entire Europe. Now, they were divided into kingdoms. They were divided into kingdoms ruled by certain dynasties. Right? They were divided into small part referred as duchies, cantons, where somewhere military was taking over. But now what happened, beta? By the time there were a lot of demands to replace this absolute monarch. If you remember in 1789, French did this same demand. If you remember, beta, why I am telling you this? You will understand that the absolute monarch, right? The absolute monarch in this French Revolution was replaced by a constitutional monarch in the year 1789. How? Because older system is replaced by a modern system. Older state is replaced by a modern state. What is this modern state and how it is different from nation state? We have to understand. Is it the same one? No. But what is modern state? A state in which there is a centralized power. Right? Centralized power who is actually having the sovereign control. By centralized power, they mean that this modern state will be in a manner that people gave the power to the person. People elected that government. People chose the leader. Getting my point? But yes, so they are telling that you have a clearly defined territory. It is not like today Napoleon have 38 confederacies. Now he will expand and then win the territories of other nearby regions, and then the Napoleonic territory will expand. It is not like that. They have a clearly fixed, defined territory over which a centralized person is ruling and having sovereign control. This is a modern concept, and this modern concept replaced the older one, talking about absolute monarchy, having expansion in terms of war, etc., etc. Right? But can we call it as a nation? Can we call any defined territory as a nation? Nahi. No, not at all. Why, beta? A nation is always and always formed by the people who live there. Modern state is just a dhacha, just a cover. Understand my point? What is modern state? Modern state is just a territory. What makes it nation are the majority of its citizens. One question, ma'am, if there is a nation, right, and the people living over there, the people will choose that territory only when they have something in common. When they have something in common. For obviously, we won't go with any other people and make it as a nation. We can't mix with them. So whenever a person fight for nation, they have a defined territory, and that defined territory is basically when they are having some commonality. But by this commonality, do I mean common language? Think about it. Does India have a common language? Nope. Any common dress? Nope. Any common culture? No. Any common tradition? Not at all. But then how India is a nation here? How India comes to become a nation? Because we have one thing, single thing in common, that is our common history, common past. This is very nicely cleared to us by a philosopher, Ernest Renan. Ernest Renan, in his famous speech, What is Nation, said that a nation is the culmination of long past of endeavor, sacrifice and devotion, and the past. If we look back, only one thing is common in every Indian citizen. We were ruled by British company. We were ruled by Mughals. Something in common, that in all India modern dynasty was Mauryan Empire at that time, not modern ancient dynasty. Getting my point? So we have a common past, we have a common history, and hence this defined territory and the citizens can live together peacefully, which makes it a nation state. Which makes it what, beta? Nation state. The feeling of belongingness to that nation state is referred as nationalism. That is known as beta nationalism. I hope that it took some time, 22 minutes around, but I hope that all the terminologies are pretty clear to all the students watching me right now. Right? Now, how the question can come? Ma'am, will the question come from this topic? Yes, write it in your book right now. Differentiate between, right? Differentiate between a modern state and nation state. A modern state and a nation state. For how many marks, bacha? For 2 marks. For 2 marks. Right? Very often you will not see this question, but when this question comes, you are blank because you did not take this introduction of the chapter very, very, what we can say, seriously. But now you took it. Okay, moving to the very, very first, most important topic of the chapter, for sure, a 5-marker question. For sure, a 5-marker question. And what is that? By how did the people of France, right? People of France create a feeling of collective identity in this French Revolution. In this French Revolution. Let me tell you, beta. In class 9, you learned a chapter that was French Revolution. You learned a chapter that was French Revolution. Okay? The people of France came on the streets, right? Stormed the fort or the city of Bastille, right? And demanded that what should be replaced? This absolute monarchy, right? This absolute monarchy should be replaced by constitutional monarchy. Because what was happening? The treasury was empty, right? People were facing substantial crisis and lot of things, lot of problems we have studied. That there was the problem with the taxation system also, which gave burden to only and only the third state. Is it clear to you? So, French Revolution, where absolute monarchy needed to be replaced by the constitutional monarchy. This is what French Revolution is. But one question comes in mind. This French Revolution brought what? Beta, the feeling of collectiveness, the feeling of belongingness. Among whom? Among the people of France. French people. How? The question is how? Right? And the answer is here. And the answer is not here. Sorry. Okay, I'm just moving ahead. So, and the answer is here. These are the 6 points that you need to keep in your mind, fixed like that. You never forget it. When you sleep also, and I come and ask, beta, tell me how did the feeling of collective belonging came into the French people during French Revolution? And you should be like, ma'am, this. Getting my point? This is how important this chapter is. This is how important this topic is. First is, by developing or by bringing the ideas of la patrie and les citoyens. By bringing this idea of la patrie and les citoyens, what does it means? Basically, this la patrie here means what? Beta, the fatherland. Here means the fatherland. Like we feel connected when we talk about motherland India. Bharat Mata. We feel connected or not? So they have their fatherland. Then what is les citoyens? Citizens. So beta, this fatherland for all the citizens emphasizes the feeling of what? Common or united community. And this community will enjoy equal rights under a constitution, because they wanted constitutional monarchy to replace that aristocratic, autocratic monarchy. Getting my point? So they want what, beta? This one single united community where there should be equal rights for everyone. This is the first point. The second is about the tricolor flag. When you see that Bharat ka jhanda, what do you feel? Connected. The Independence Day is near now. We will see everyone that feeling of patriotism, right? So a new French flag was chosen to replace the former royal standard flag. A very good step. Second thing, flag was introduced. Next is beta, the State General. State General was the body of active citizens renamed as National Assembly. Now see, National Assembly, assembly for everyone. It will be the body of active citizens. Who are the active citizens? Who participated in election. However, I know that there were restrictions. Not everyone was electing, but a universal adult franchise was not even a thought at that time. So whatever was given was more than enough in comparison to the absolute one. Hence, the formation of National Assembly again brought the feeling of nationalism. When we sing this song, what happened? Patriotic song, we feel goosebumps. Similarly, new hymns were composed, oath was taken, and the martyrs who actually lost their life fighting for this cause were commemorated, all in the name of the nation. All in the name of what? Nation. The next is, by we will form one country. We need centralized administration. There should be uniform laws for all the citizens, not favoring any one particular society, right? There should be uniform laws for everyone. There should be internal custom duties abolished by one region to another. When we just move the product, when we trade the product, what was happening? Taxes were applied on them. In one nation itself, this was seen. So hence, let's not continue this practice that it makes feeling us disunited. A uniform system of weights and measures to be adopted, and last but not the least, they opted for a single language to bring the feeling of nationalism. They said that regional language should be discouraged, and French that is spoken in Paris will become the common language for the nation. These are the 6 steps, the 6 points which are going to give you 5 marks. The 6 steps that they practiced to bring the feeling of nationalism among the people of France. Getting my point? right? And here you saved your 5 marks. Giving you 2 minutes, pause the video. I will be speaking anyhow, but pause this video, learn the 6 points in your mind, try to write in the copy right now. I don't want to waste your time. Write it in your copy right now, closing the book, stopping the video, and figure out that it is being memorized or not. Beta, we will learn together. I will not teach you, we will learn together. Okay, so one topic done. Come back after doing this. Now let me tell you the next important topic. Before moving to the next important topic, we have some previous year questions too. From the same topic, as I promised you, we will be discussing a topic, doing a question. So, this question, right, came in the year 2022, which says that in 1848, who prepared a series of 4 prints visualizing his dream of world made up of democratic and social republic? Who was he? Was he Ernst Renan? Bhaiya, nahi. He gave the famous speech that what is a nation? So this is not correct. He is not correct. Fine by Frédéric Sorrieu. Yes, he is correct. Why he is correct? Because he is a French artist who made this drawing in painting in 1848. Johann Gottfried Herder, no bhai, he was a person belonging to Germany, a German philosopher. And talking about Carol, he belongs to Italy. You will get to know about them later in the chapter. Okay, so B is the correct answer. See, this type of question comes in exam from this topic. Next is about in Sorrieu's first print, which 2 people already were nation states. See, if you would have missed that line from NCERT, ruined this 1 mark, destroyed this 1 mark. Right? So is it France and Germany? Is it USA and Switzerland? Is it Italy and Poland? Is it England and Ireland? But it's clearly USA and Switzerland, the 2 nations which already became democratic and hence was leading that queue. Right? It's not done yet because I have added a subjective question also, the board's favorite question. I chose this question over here because it is frequently asked, most repeatedly asked by the CBSE boards. Right? Describe any 3 steps taken by the French revolutionaries to create a sense of collective identity among the French people. Here it is written for 3 marks, but beta, for 5 marks this question can also come. And I believe now you will answer it. Okay, please take the screenshots of these questions, or as I discussed you in the AIO page, you can download it so that this becomes the repository for you. Right? By repository does not mean that keep it aside. Solve 2 questions daily from the same PDF or the PPT what you will download. Done? Great. Moving to the next topic that comes from Napoleon. But before the entry of Napoleon, let me take back to class 9 so that you can feel connected. 1789, right? In 1789, there was an event in France that is referred as French Revolution, right? What was the demand of this French Revolution? Obviously, to develop a constitutional monarchy. To develop what, bacha? Constitutional monarchy. And this is what happened in France later on, right? This is what happened in France later on, that after this point, up till now, France was absolutist monarchy. Here it was absolute monarch. After this French Revolution, it is up till 1789, right? After this French Revolution, beta, the nation became constitutional monarch. Constitutional monarch. But again, those middle class people felt that the demands are not being fulfilled and hence they fought. They fought after there were certain points that these constitutional monarchy have a secret alliance with other nations and they are preparing for the war. Here there was a group that led this march and it was led by Robespierre, Maximilien Robespierre, and he made France as republic. Why we are talking about it? Because later Napoleon is connected. He made the nation republic, but when republic came, it came with a loophole that Maximilien Robespierre was a different person. Right? He opted for a policy to cut the head of the people. Do you remember that name? Type it in the comment section. Let me know what you remember from class 9th or not. And then after this, it was like obviously Later on, he was given the punishment, right? It was given the punishment and directory came into rule. That means some group of people ruling France. But don't you think that group of people can't rule a country? Obviously, there will be clashes, there will be unstable government. Beta, this unstable government, right? This unstable government gave opportunity to a person who is Napoleon to rule France. Napoleon to rule France. But I must tell you that the rule of Napoleon was not only limited to the France territory, rather it was expanded to many territories like Italy, like the present day Germany, right? Present day Switzerland and many more like this. So it was a big empire that was created by Napoleon, right? Was he a good ruler, ma'am? Was he better than the constitutional monarch, right? Was he having fan following at the starting? Yes. Right? But he was not democratic. Okay? The answer of yes is not for democratic one. So was he a good ruler? But what happened na? He was a liberal ruler. He was not like that of the people who were ruling previously. Absolutely. Right? He was not, see, he had absolute powers, but he was not someone who belonged to a dynasty, to a kingdom. Right? I know that he did not establish democracy. Right? He did not establish democracy, but he brought certain administrative changes. Certain what, beta? Certain administrative changes. And in that administrative changes, one is Civil Code of 1804. I in the starting called him as a liberal leader. When I say liberal, the word actually means free. Now, was he a leader giving freedom to the citizens? You will figure out by reading these points right now. Yes, you can see this picture of Napoleon added in the PPT right away. So, beta, for making this administrative changes, right? Because now he is having lot more territories. He need to build up a administration system, isn't it? He bought this Civil Code of 1804, popularly known as Napoleonic Code. Popularly known as what? Napoleonic Code. Arey bhai, the code belongs to Napoleon. It becomes Napoleonic Code. It is for the civilians, that means the citizen. Hence it is known as Civil Code. In which year? 1804. When Napoleon proclaimed himself as the Emperor of the France. Okay, and he had a vision to cover the Europe too. So, what he bought at the first time was he did away all the privileges on the basis of birth. Yes, that birth. Noble, clergy, third estate, first estate, second estate. He said, what is this? Social differences, social hierarchy. Let's not continue this. Let's make it a modern state. And hence, he did away all the privileges on the basis of birth. When you will take away all the privileges, what will happen? Everyone will come in the equal front. And hence, he established equality before the law. He established what, bacha? Equality before the law. And you know that one thing he provided to the citizens, everyone equally, is right to property, which was only among the rich peoples earlier, and other were treated as slaves. They were treated as slaves. Sorry if my voice is not good today because I am having heavy cold and cough, and actually my throat is gone. So if in case you find certain sounds which is disgusting, actually, I'm sorry for that. Okay, so it did away all the privileges on the basis of birth, established equality before law, and secured right to property for the citizens. This code was exported to all those regions which came under French control, and they were the Dutch republics, Switzerland, Italy, and Germany. The states like Dutch Republic, Switzerland, Germany, Italy, and many more. Basically, to rule this entire region, he needs administration to be very, very strong. He made it simplified by ending this feudal system. I will explain that. By ending this feudal system, allowing peasants to be free and freeing them from their manorial dues. What is this? What is this? So, beta, the feudal system was such that, like in Europe, right, there were different kingdoms. There were different kingdoms ruled by certain kings. Or what do we call them as? Monarch. What do we call them as? Monarch. But now what happened? These monarchs willing to establish the larger territory, fight for the wars, and sometimes they enhance their territories. Do you think that sitting in one place they can rule the entire region? No. So they provide those land, the right of holding that land to some people, and who are they? They are feudal lords. See, getting my point? These feudal lords hold certain land area, right? And why they are known as lords? Because they were the powerful people who got the opportunity to have the right over this particular land. Now, do you think that these lords, so-called lords, are going to work on the land and tilt it and do agriculture and bring the maximum profit out of it and give it back to the king? No. So they basically harass, or what we can say, exploit the lower level of society, the third estate, the peasants, etc., and they were referred as serf. Okay, they were referred as serf. So here it comes, the serfdom system who need to work for the feudal lords, and this is what is known as feudalism. After the working, because as they are given the land to work, they need to also pay the manorial dues, right? Manorial dues also to the king. This feudal system was abolished by Napoleon. This serfdom was abolished by Napoleon, and he freed all these peasants from the what? The manorial dues. So you are thinking that why he is a good person? Something in the back of your mind it is going, yaar, why are very good leader up till now? We didn't saw any such leader in Europe. We just saw Robespierre, a strange man enough. So we will talk about that too. Now what he did in the next is, in the towns there were guild restrictions. Now what are those guilds? Guilds are basically groups. So in the ancient times what happened na? Because the society provided right of the activities, economic activities, to only few group of people. What happened later? There were groups being made who were not allowing to trade in that activity, who were not allowing others to do trade in that activity. So those trade restrictions were removed by Napoleon, and because of which more people will be engaged in trade. Hence, he need to improve the transport and communication system too. This is how all the peasants, the artisans, the workers, the new businessmen enjoyed profound freedom. Found freedom. Get it? Don't you feel this is a story? Yes, it is. Talk like you are reading a story. Study like you are reading a story. Right? And this is what Napoleon got by. Napoleon is a good person. He is making everyone equal in the society. He is giving economic liberty to the freedom. And this is what people thought in the beginning. Right? Everyone welcomed Napoleon wholeheartedly in starting, but later got to know that there is one thing that Napoleon is not giving. He is giving you social freedom, he is giving you economic freedom, but is he the leader chosen by the people? No. So he is not providing one thing, that his arrangement is not going hand in hand with the political freedom that actually people wanted at that time. For this system, he increased taxation, censorship. Nobody can speak against Napoleon. Getting my point? Is not a democrat, bhai. He is a dictator. You can't speak anything against that. You know what happened? He wanted to rule the entire Europe. His wish was the same. And hence he was fighting war after another. Who actually fights the war? The people. He was doing forced conscription, that means forcefully were people asked to be part of the army, French armies, right, to conquer the rest of the Europe. And this is how the people who will wholeheartedly welcoming Napoleon in the starting in Europe find criticism in the rule of Napoleon. In the rule of what, bacha? Napoleon. Yes. So initially he was welcomed as harbingers. Harbingers matlab person who is spreading what? Liberty. The French army soon met hostility. The benefits of reform were outweighed by taxes, the censorship and the conscription. 3 fixed points you have to write when this question comes, that what was the criticism for Napoleon in Europe, beta? The increased taxes, increased censorship, increased conscription, as well as no political freedom. One more point, 4 are there. Get it? So ma'am, this particular topic is very, very important. Have you added any previous year questions regarding the same? Yes, I have, because I don't want anything to be missed by you after watching this session. Get it? Cool. So we have one previous year question from 2023 board exam in CBSE. 1 mark MCQ which came likewise. Which of the following was not a feature of Napoleonic Code of 1804? Think about it. Is it equality before law? Bhai, this is the first point. The right to property? Yes. Privileges based on the birth? Okay. Abolition of feudal system? Beta, see, here you can get confused because something was there regarding privileges on the basis of birth. Beta, it was he abolished the privileges on the basis of birth, did not establish it. As nothing is written here, it's clearly indicating that it established privileges on the basis of birth. C is the correct answer. This is not a feature. Do not forget to read a word that is not in your questions. I also miss sometimes and do a blunder. Okay, so coming towards next one, that is in the form of assertion and reason from the same topic. We will read the assertion first. Napoleon's rule became unpopular in the conquered region. Is it? Is it? Yes, later. Let's see. Reason: because of the high taxation, censorship, forced conscription outweighed the benefit of administrative reform. We just read it. Both A and R are true, and R is the correct explanation of A. Fix this in your mind. Right? Now coming towards the subjective question, how did the local people in the areas conquered by Napoleon reacted to the French rule? Explain. Beta, this is what? Criticism. But yes, one more question can come over here, that explain the, right, 2 questions from this topic. Explain the civil code of, direct question, civil code of 1804. Achha, one more type of question can come. Napoleon no doubt destroyed democracy but established a very good administrative system. Explain. What you will explain in that? Exactly the civil code, because this is the line given in NCERT. Line given in NCERT. Done? Great. Okay. Let's move further. Very good. I hope, beta, that you are stopping, pausing the video after every topic and trying to recall it, reading from the NCERT. Recall it every time you watch my videos. Okay? Because I don't want to just teach you. I just want you learn with me. Okay? Great. Next topic. Okay, bhai, what happened next? How did nationalism and nation state emerge? Now, bhai, we saw one thing that is the feeling of what? Connectivity among the people in France. Then we saw one thing that we felt that there is feeling of connectivity somewhere when Napoleon also came. Okay? But now the question is, French people were doing revolution for their territory, right? There might be revolutions going in other regions also, but how? How actually this feeling, this concept of nationalism, this concept of nation state emerged in Europe, first thing. Because Europe, what you see right now was not present at that time. It was divided into kingdom, duchies, etc., etc. This is the current Europe, but Europe was not looking like this initially. It was like this. Russian Empire here Polish Empire, Habsburg Empire, here different French Empire, there was Spain, there was Britain where English people were living, here it was in the green color, Ottoman Empire. Then how did the idea of nation came? Let us see this in 18th century. How did nation state came, beta? The Germany we see today, Italy, Switzerland were divided into kingdom, duchies, cantons. Right? One thing that you have to understand here is, beta, one thing that was common in the entire Europe, either it be Central, Eastern or Western Europe, that autocratic monarch was ruling. What is autocratic monarch? Who was believing in the old social order, that the power should be in my hand. This is the one thing that made people connected. These people do not actually share any common identity, culture, language. No, they were people with different speaking language, people with different culture, different traditions. Then what happened? That they got an idea of the nation. We will see this with the help of an example given in your textbook. Okay, we will see this with an example given in your textbook, and the textbook example is about Habsburg Empire. About what, bacha? Habsburg Empire. If it is not clear in the board, please see your NCERT, this map, which is here. The region that is yellow in color is the Habsburg Empire, moreover. Okay, we can add this too. This is the Habsburg Empire. Right? If you see this entire empire, do they have any common identity that they will later form the nation? No, bhai, no. It was divided into regions like Alpine region, which consists of Tyrol, which consists of many other regions like Austria, Sudetenland, Bohemia, etc., etc., where predominantly there was a language being spoken, that is German language. Right? Then there was Italian-speaking people in Lombardy and Venetia. You can go and see this. This region was Lombardy and Venetia, where you will find the people speaking Italian language. When you will go and see this region, that is Hungary, most of the people speak Magyar language and the others speak a variety of dialects. There was a region in the right, Galician people, and the people, the aristocratic, the high-class people here speak the language Polish. So as it is divided from north, south, east, west into different ethnic groups mean people having different language, culture, tradition, then how does it happen that they formed a nation state? They formed what, beta? Nation state. Let me explain you one thing. Beta, consider this is Europe. Consider this is Europe. Right? You will see that one of the common thing is this entire Europe was autocratic monarchy. But there was a change in the social structure of Europe, small change that actually turned out the history or changed the entire history of Europe. That was, beta, this is considered to be as Western Europe. This is considered to be as Central and Eastern Europe. Central and Eastern Europe. Okay? You will see that the basic difference in these territories that, beta, here, right? Here in the Central and Eastern Europe, it was dominated largely by small peasants, right, plus artisans, etc. But that region, particularly the western region, was dominated by high class society. By high class society, I mean majorly the middle class people. Why, do you remember in class 9 we saw that the reason for French Revolution was also the rise of the middle class people, because what happened now? Here, there were large landholders. As those were large landholders, they had the money. And then there were rise of industrialists. In a similar way, big businessmen, right? These people send their children to study. This is basically middle class society. As now there was education and everything, beta, this society became middle class, which have access to all the philosophical knowledge around the world. They know about democracy, right? The philosophy. They knew about what? They know about democracy, equality, because they study about USA. This was the difference. Now, when we say about any revolution, it starts in the Western Europe, like countries like Britain, France, Spain, Portuguese, Finland, Scotland, etc. Gradually, this feeling of nationalism, which started from this middle class people, was spreading towards Central and Eastern Europe, and then it will spread towards Asia, and hence we demanded for freedom by Britishers. Connecting or not? Gradually. Okay, get it? And this is how, beta, the nationalism feeling came. And this nationalism feeling is now associated with one more word, that is liberal. Did I call Napoleon as a liberal leader? Because somehow he provided freedom. Somewhere in the terms of society, somewhere in the terms of economy. I know that he did not provide political freedom, but here we will talk about them. As there was rise of middle class society, there was rise of one more philosophy in Europe, that was liberalism. But you know that this word liberalism comes from a Latin word, right? It comes from a Latin word, and what is that Latin word? Liber, which actually means freedom. By the passing of the time, when USA become democratic, Switzerland become democratic, with the passing of time, when the middle class knew about all these philosophies, they read the book of certain philosophers like Rousseau and many more. What happened? They also wanted freedom. What freedom I mean here? But a freedom to choose their leader, freedom to speak against the policy of the ruler, freedom that everyone should be treated equally in the society, freedom to trade in whatever they want, freedom in everything literally. And hence, from this chapter, we categorized it into 3 subheadings. Into how many subheadings, bacha? 3 subheadings, as social liberalism, right? Political liberalism, as well as economic liberalism. Social liberalism, political liberalism, and economic liberalism. In social, obviously, we will talk about the basic things in society a person wants, like they want freedom for individual and equality of law, like everyone should be equal before the law. This is the basic society equality, right? The liberals also stress for inviolability of private property. That means everyone should have the right to hold the private properties. Society, get it? When we talk about political, my government should be chosen by the consent of the people. We choose our leader. This is political freedom. So government by consent. Here should be end of autocracy and clerical privileges, which is being provided since longer period of time. As well as constitution, right? Constitution according to which the leader is chosen, and the leader should work according to the constitution. And this is what is known as representative government. Representative government, the government who represents all the citizens or people of a country and work for them as per the laws written in the constitution. This was demanded. Coming towards economic liberalism, they wanted freedom in the market. You will get to know everything about economic freedom by example. Wait. Okay? Freedom of market, abolition of state imposed restrictions on the movement of goods and capital. So yes, this feeling of liberalism was growing among the people, where people thought that in society we need this, in political terms we need this, in economic terms we need this. Acha, one thing that you have to note, very very important, when we are saying equality before law, when we are saying government should be chosen by the people, do we need everyone? Do we need everyone? No, that idea has not reached up to the mind of the Europeans, right? By this, we do not mean universal suffrage. Women and non-propertied men who do not have money was excluded from this list of rights. Excluded from the list of rights. However, this was just a step. Later, they will get the rights too. Clear? Up till here? So yes, there was a feeling of nationalism that rose in Europe that brought into light one concept, that is liberal nationalism. Now people are growing with this feeling of nationalism, social, political and economic sphere. Now what will happen? What will happen? A step will be taken in terms to bring that equality or unity. But before that, let me tell you, with the help of example that is given in the book. With the help of example that is given in the book. Because now you did not get one clarity, that is economic liberalism. You did not get, bacha, one clarity, that is economic liberalism, and I am sure about this. I am sure about this. So consider that there is a merchant, right? That there is a merchant, and this merchant decided that I want to travel from Nuremberg. Okay, I think that spelling can be correct, but you will consider it, I know that. Nuremberg to Luxembourg. Okay, to Luxembourg. These are the territories, right? Territories in the German Confederacy. Okay, in the German Confederacy. Confederacy means group of territories. So this German Confederacy of 39 states was created by Napoleon when he was ruling the France region. Okay, so this person is traveling, and then it was known as French territory. So he was traveling in this German region. Why we are calling it? People speak the language German here. From Nuremberg to Luxembourg, you know that when the person is moving, he need to cross 11 states. He need to cross how many states? 11 states. Okay, that's pretty cool. No issues. A merchant has to do this work, but the main point is that because beta, internal custom duties are applied by every state. What is applied? Internal custom duties are applied by every state, and you know that every state apply 5% of the custom duty. Don't you think that he need to pay the taxes for around 55%, which will result into the increase in what? Charges of that product. Is it fair? No, because if a product is made in Britain, need to transport it to one of the German region, need to pass with several territories, taxes is become costly, and then the economy will be affected for obvious reasons. This is a problem, and that too in one territory, where they are calling themselves as Germans, right? So this is a problem. One more problem. By one more problem, they have different currency. Like the currency to measure the cloth at that time was LA, and this value of LA was different at different place, be it Nuremberg, Luxembourg, or anything. Right? One was counting it as 57.5 centimeter, the other as 60 centimeter. Why the merchant will become crazy? Measuring it every state, giving the taxes at every state. Is it fairer? Nope. Then what happened? These German states, which are now active because they knew about the feeling of liberalism, came with an idea. Let's unite. Why don't all these German states come together, have a common currency, have a common system of taxation, and have common weights and measure? Good idea? Yes. Good idea. So that idea is referred as Zollverein. What it is referred as? Zollverein. It is a group of the German people which is famously known as Custom Union, made in the year 1834. Please remember the date. I know you forget it. I don't know why Custom Union people forget it all the time. So this group is famously known as Zollverein, also known as Custom Union, formed by the initiative of Prussia. Now, what is this Prussia by? Beta, when you see this German Confederacy, you will see that the largest territory and the most powerful territory in that is Prussia. Okay, so this Prussia took the initiative to form a group of people joined by most of the German states. They decided that we will form a union group in which abolition of tariff barriers between the member states. Whoever is the member of the group, we will not apply for each other's trading practices the custom duties, that mean internal tariff barriers. Okay. Even it reduced the number of currency from 30 to 2 by drop down the difference of currencies. Yes, for this to facilitate the process more, they developed a network of railways. It will further, what we can say, stimulate, give growth to unity. Are here we talking about nationality? Are we talking about they are unifying? Beta, we are not talking about unifying as a nation, but yes, unifying for the cause of economy or for the economic interest for the very first time. This will later lead to national unification, one step at a time taken. So the first step was taken by a group of merchants and initiated by Prussia, the largest territory of the German Confederacy, resulted into the formation of a very, very big group, Zollverein. Question comes from this topic for sure. And what is that question in the format? Beta, write a short note on. Bhai, write the questions when I say. Okay? Write a short note on Zollverein, or it can be short note on custom union. Do not forget the year, it is 1834. Okay, it is 1834. 1834. Now comes to the previous year questions. See, one such question that came in the year 2021 MCQ for 1 mark. Identify the correct statement with regard to Zollverein from the following options. We have some options here. A. It is a political coalition of Prussian states. See, Prussia here is correct, but was it a political coalition? No. It was a economic coalition. So the problem lies with the word political. You sometimes can get energetic by seeing this Prussian state and just take the first option as correct. Arey, Prussia is there, let's correct it. Hold on, bacha. Hold on. Take a deep breath and read all the points of MCQs. The next is a custom union formed at the initiative of Prussia. Okay. A military alliance. Why this goes wrong here? Is it a military alliance? Not at all. A cultural society. Why? They will do dance here? No. It is B. The custom union formed at the initiative of Prussia. Moving to the next one. What is that? Under which ideology did people demand freedom of markets and abolition of state-imposed restrictions on the movement of goods and capital? Okay? Is it conservatism? Is it romanticism? Is it liberalism? Or it is socialism? So beta, we just studied it is the part of economic liberalism, right? If you are wondering about other words, right? The same video will clear you everything. Just hold on. The now question that needs to be written up. Ideas of national unity in early 19th century Europe were closely allied to the ideology of liberalism. Most of the students struggle to understand this question and then end up writing wrong things. Beta, the question is a line taken straight from NCERT which says ideas of national unity in early 19th century Europe were allied to the feeling of liberalism. What you have to write is intro, right? Whenever this question comes in your exams, right? So the answer should be in a format that you write an intro, right? Where you define what actually liberalism is. What actually, bacha, what? Liberalism. It comes from a liber word which means freedom. The next point can be you define what is social liberty, okay, or social liberalism and the demands in that. If you will write two points from each, done, 5 marks secured. Liberalism. I am making mistakes in spellings. Then we have economic liberalism and then we have political liberalism. Okay? Again, two points from each of the section as discussed in the current video. This is how you will frame your answer and get how many marks? 5 marks. Ma'am, in every question you give us 5 marks. But I am assuming that you don't lose any marks after watching this video. And here comes new conservatism in Europe. Now what is that, bhai? What is this? First of all, to understand this new liberalism, we have to understand what actually is going in Europe. Right? See the context. 1789, you were studying that there was revolution going on. The revolution was going on and that revolution was against what? Against a system that was existing in Europe, that was absolute monarchy. Absolute what, bacha? Monarchy. And yes, this is absolute monarchy. Who are these absolute monarch people who think that the old existing order of society should exist, and we call them conservatives. We call them conservatives. We do call sometimes our grandparents as orthodox and conservatives because they don't go along with the demands or what we can, the changes in the society in present generation, we call them. Na? Similarly, okay, this is not something negative, it is just a definition. Okay, so we call them conservatives because bacha, they believe that the old order should exist. There should be an absolute monarch, there should be social division, there should be nobility, clergy, and the taxes should not be paid by them. That is what is known as conservatism. Now, what happened? After that, people demanded for freedom. Here comes constitutional monarchy. Here comes Napoleon. Here comes the concept of liberalism. And hence it was replaced by liberalism. An ideology that is liberalism. Right? Why do you believe that? Do you think that the monarch, the king, ruling from 200 years, past 500 years, the dynasties ruling that region will accept this liberalism? They will welcome it. आओ भाई, आओ हमारे empire को गिरा दो. Just break this empire right away. Do you believe that? No. They came back and destroyed the rule of Napoleon, and now they will be called as new conservatives. Now they will be called as new conservatives in picture. How does the picture looks like? Please pay attention. ठीक है? So beta, those conservative who believe that the traditional institution should be preserved, either it be monarchy, the power of the church, social hierarchy, property and the family. Right? It should be as it is. It should be preserved. We need to just go back to that old order. Those people are known as new conservatives. But if we look back, what happened? It started from absolute monarchy. These people are referred as what? Conservative. Then in the regions, major regions came constitutional monarchy after revolutions. Then in the picture came Robespierre, who established a republic, but then it was replaced by the power of Napoleon, who yes can be called as a liberal leader, but now this Napoleon, right? This Napoleon is not liked by those conservative people. He's continuously being challenged by the power of conservatives, and you know what will happen? He will end his power. When all the conservative groups come together, fight a war against Napoleon, destroyed the power of Napoleon, in the picture came new conservatism. In the picture came new conservatism. And when was it, my dear students? So it was in 1815. It was in when? 1815. ठीक है? So picture starts from 1789 French Revolution. 1804 Napoleon became the emperor. He was ruling, he was expanding, fighting wars, and he was winning everywhere. It was his success. Now the conservative thought that by he is a challenge. Let us club together. Let us bring each other together, and what will happen? What will happen? Let's destroy Napoleon. So all those conservatives like British people, Prussian people, Austrian people, Russian people, they came together, fought a war with Napoleon, series of war, but the end war was Waterloo. If you remember the last 9th of your class 9th book, textbook, right? At the Battle of Waterloo, Napoleon was defeated, and they established a new regime, that is new conservatism. They established a new regime, that is what, my dear students? New conservatism. And this is conservative regime after 1850 re-established. Re-established how? By signing this treaty, that is Treaty of Vienna. Signing the treaty that is known as what, bacha? Treaty of Vienna in the year 1815. Again, let me make you more understanding how. So, 1789, what was happening in the country? French particularly, if I talk about, why there was there was absolute monarchy. People fought against it. Constitutional monarchy developed. Robespierre came. Unstable government was there. Later, republic was established over there. Later, what came into rule? Republic. It was then replaced by Napoleon. Napoleon, the powerful person who was giving certain liberty, initially liked by people, then disliked by people. Now the conservatives get threatened that, bhai, we need that old social order again. Let's club together and defeat him. Who came all together? It is Britain, Russia, Prussia and Austria defeated Napoleon in the Battle of Waterloo. Okay, in the Battle of Waterloo. Okay, the power was collectively defeated. Now, after the defeat, what will happen? It's about lend-in of the territory, giving and taking the territory ruled by Napoleon. So, they met at a place, Vienna, which is right now the capital of Austria. Right now, the capital of Austria. So, beta, hence they met at Vienna. This treaty is known as Treaty of Vienna, signed in the year 1850. It was hosted by an Austrian Chancellor, Duke Metternich. Right? Hosted by a very, very popular person who speaks a lot. Just utter his words. Right? And that is Duke Metternich. You know what happened with France? Better the France went back to the time of 1789. How? The Bourbon dynasty was restored to power again in France. Right? Every story started from revolution will again come back to revolution. It took years to make a nation. The nation which we are enjoying today, it is the efforts, lot of efforts with lot of people. So here in France, Bourbon dynasty was restored to power. France lost all its territories that was annexed by Napoleon, and series of states were smartly made by these collective group of people so that never the power of Napoleon or someone like Napoleon can come together. Basically, what was the objective? So that undo the changes that has been brought by Napoleon and bring their older regime. This was the challenge. This was the objective. You know what they did now? See, if you can see this map that is also given in your NCERT, please look it very nicely, beta. This is France. Okay? This is France. So what they did now? Just I'll change the pen. So this is France, right? This is France. What they did na beta? They did some of the territories here to Russia, like Polish territory given to Russia. Like here Lombardy, Venetia, this region, this was given to Austrian powers. This was given to Austrian power. Saxony was given to Prussian power. Right? Here the Netherlands exists. Belgium was given to Netherlands. Right? Some of the territories in the west was given to Spain. Why? To circle France in a way that the France can never increase its power or come back. To undo the power, undo the changes brought by Napoleon. How many marker question? Ma'am? 5 marker. Ma'am, every question is a 5 marker question. No, bacha. It can come as a 3 marker also. Okay? As well as 5 marker that explain the provisions in the Treaty of Vienna. Yeah, what are the changes have been brought by the Treaty of Vienna made in 1815? You should know it. You should know it. And if the question comes some surrounding new conservatism also, you have to write these points. You have to write these points. Okay, hosted by Metternich. Where? Vienna. When? 1815. Whenever you study history, you should ask WH questions to it. When, where, how, when, what happened, what was the result. So ask all those WH questions, and if you can answer all of them, you are rocking with me in history. Okay, some questions came from the same topic, previous year questions, and they are as follows. The Congress of Vienna hosted in 1815 was hosted by Duke Metternich, Chancellor of Austria. Very easy answer. The next is about arrange in chronological order. Okay, events, chronological type of question, the favorite question of CBSE. Okay, so the question talks about Napoleonic War. Okay, bye. Treaty of Vienna, fine. So you know about Treaty of Vienna, and you also know that for obvious reasons Napoleonic War was before Treaty of Vienna, right? Then we have Greek struggle of independence. You will learn in this chapter only. It was around 1832. Okay? Then Slav nationalism. This is the last topic of the chapter, and hence it is arranged 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4 is the correct answer to this. You will get to know when the chapter is over. Okay, and the subjective question, board's favorite write-up questions. What were the main objectives and features of Treaty of Vienna 1815? Do not miss the point that Bourbon dynasty was restored to France. What you should not miss as a point is Bourbon dynasty was restored to power. Okay, now Bourbon dynasty, Austria, Prussia, Russia took the territories, established their power, became powerful. Napoleon out of the picture. What happened? What they will do? Will they give people the rights? Not at all. Right? We are very wrong to think about that. By this converted into literally bad. This new conservative regime, right? This new conservative regime brought like more strictness in the society. This time when they came, this time when they came, they imposed a lot of censorship. Censorship here means to stop people to speak or write anything against them. right? And this was basically a type of society which came with absolute powers, in their hand. Again, Europe fell into the same trap. It is going from 1780s. Now what will happen? However, beta, in the later times, new conservative realized that it is the change. We will bring the change, but that change is very, very slow. Or I can call it gradual. And the people were not ready to accept it so gradually. And hence what happened? When you keep your pressure cooker over the stove, what happened? After some time, when lot of pressure is in it, it will whistle out. Isn't it? Are we talking about the pressure cooker? No. We are talking about the pressure created by conservatives on the common people. Why? You are not giving rights to them. You're not allowing them to speak. You're not allowing them to write. You're not allowing them to be equal in the society. Not allowing them to choose their leaders. What will happen? That pressure cooker will burst one day. And it bursted in the form of revolutionaries, the rise of a period which is known as Age of Revolution. And this is the next topic we have to study. I want you to take a deep breath now, because we completed somewhere 40% of the chapter. And congratulations that you are enjoying learning it, with PYQs being solved, with questions, important questions being written over here. Just give me a minute, I'll come back and we will start the chapter Revolutionaries. Okay, so now we are back and we will see what the revolutionaries, the age of revolution, the period where revolutionaries were there. So as I told you, beta, the pressure from the conservatives was so much that the pressure cooker bursted. There was rise of revolutionaries, and right now in this book we will talk about one of the revolutionary, that is Giuseppe Mazzini. Okay, people call it as Giuseppe Mazzini. It's Giuseppe basically. So Mazzini, born in Genoa in 1807. Became a member of secret society of Carbonari. Who is he? We are talking about this. So he became the member of a secret society at a place known as Carbonari. Secret society, you know that the plotting against the conservatives and all that was going on. What happened? As a young man of 24 years of age, okay? As a young man of 24 years of age, he was sent to exile in 1831 for attempting a revolution. So yes, he was a revolutionary, beta. He was an Italian revolutionary. Who was he? He was an Italian revolutionary who was doing revolution. When he was doing revolution in Liguria, he was arrested and sent to exile when he was merely at the age of 24. What happened? Later, he founded two underground society. One was Young Italy in Marseille and other is Young Europe in Bern. Young Italy in Marseille and the next one is Young Europe in Bern. Now, what happened? You know that he saw a dream. What was that dream? The vision. Vision was to form a united Italian republic. Okay. The vision was to form a united Italian republic. This was something he thought. He thought that to unite all the people speaking the language Italian, have their common ancestors, have their common, not ancestors, have their common, what we can say, identity, form them as a republic nation where the leader is chosen by the people. This was the vision of Giuseppe Mazzini. You know what he said? He said that by likewise, we identify things, right? We identify let me tell, milk in liters. We have unit of everything. Unit of a cloth, length of the cloth, unit of the distance. Similarly, he said that by humans, man also should be represented with a unit, and that unit is a nation. He said that God intended the nations to be the natural units of mankind, and this is how I want to forge Italy as a unified republic with a wider alliance of the nation. This was the dream, and his revolutionary activities going on and on. All the like-minded men was joining the secret society formed by this person, right? Challenging the power of conservatives at that time. You know what happened later? those conservators, will they see him and digest the activities he is doing? Not at all. Again, now came the person, Duke Metternich gave a statement against Metternich, said that he is the most dangerous enemy of our social order. Question will come, who said this statement and what does he mean by this statement that he is the most dangerous enemy of the social order? So, Metternich said this statement for Mazzini. Who is Mazzini? Italian Italian revolutionary, sent to exile at 24, right? View a dream to form a united Italian republic, made underground societies, young Italy at Marseille and young Europe in Bern. Okay, 5-marker question prepared with this short note. Very good. Write it in your copy that a question comes that write a short note on. Write a short note on. On whom, bacha? On Giuseppe Mazzini. Giuseppe Mazzini. We have lot of questions from this topic. Yes, lot of questions from the topic, both in form of MCQs as well as in the form of subjective question asked repeatedly. Like, here's a question from CBSE 2022. Who put together a coherent program for a unitary Italian republic during the 1830s? Who put together a coherent program for a united Italian republic during 1830s? So who was he? Was he Victor Emmanuel too? Up till now we studied nothing about him. Who is he? We don't know. Cavour? We don't know. It is Mazzini. Yes. Okay. So next question, again this is from CBSE board, 1 mark. Who founded the underground society Young Europe in Bern with like-minded young men from Poland, France, Italy and German states? It is Mazzini. Okay? It is Mazzini. Do not get confused because lot of names are going to come in future. Then we have a question, write a short note on Giuseppe Mazzini and his contribution to the idea of nation. How much marks, beta? 3 marks. Frequently asked, including NCERT based question. That means in NCERT back exercise also we have a question that write a short note on Giuseppe Mazzini. Write a short note on Giuseppe Mazzini. Get it? Very good. Very good. Now, let us see to the age of revolution. Beta, when one person come and start the revolution, it won't stop then. People will join, like-minded men will join, and then the activities will be increased day after the other. And this is what happened between this period. Let me go back and see that in 1804 to 1815, there was the time when in Europe, Napoleon was powerful. Who was powerful? Napoleon was powerful. Then again in 1815, who came, bacha? The new conservatives came. And they imposed the old social order on the people and like treated people badly. They were referred as what? New conservatives. This regime continued till 1830. And then, beta, since 1830 to 1848, there was rise of revolutionary activities throughout Europe. And obviously, it will start from which place? Always the revolution starts from France. Right? It was the month of July 1830, people frustrated against the absolute monarch because remember, in Treaty of Vienna, who was restored to power in France? Bourbon dynasty. Bourbon dynasty again, how their nature is we know since last year. So beta, we know they are absolute monarchy and hence in 1830 the first sudden upheaval, the Bourbon king was overthrown by liberal revolutionaries like they did in 1789. Yes, they came on the street, stormed the cities, demanded for revolution, and these revolutionaries threw out the Bourbon dynasty in France, who installed a constitutional monarchy. And now what is being replaced in France, bacha? Constitutional monarchy with Louis Philippe as its head. Remember the name. Who is he? Louis Philippe as it heads. And now here, a statement came again by Metternich. This Metternich person just need to utter something. He said that when France sneezes, the rest of Europe catches cold. Like it happens actually. Like cold is a communicable disease. You sneeze and the nearby person catches the cold. So when this France started the revolution, it will affect the other territories too. Can we have an example of that? Yes, we do have Belgium. Remember in the Treaty of Vienna, bacha, this Belgium was given to Netherlands, right? It was given to Netherlands and then it became United Kingdom of Netherlands. They call it as United Kingdom of Netherlands. Again, this July revolution in France sparkled an uprising in Brussels also. Brussels, capital of Belgium. So again, the revolution started here, which led to breaking down of this United Kingdom. And beta, if someone asks you the question, when did Belgium become independent? Write the answer, that is 1831. Right? Oh, sorry, it is 1830. Okay, 1830. I will just check it. I don't want to say anything wrong because it just skipped from my mind that it is 30 or 31. 38 is 30, yeah, 30. Okay, the same year. So now the uprising or the upheaval will reach to other regions also. Now came into picture, there is a territory referred as Greece, Greek people. Right? Greek people, we are talking from a period 1821 to 32. Yes, French Revolution also enhanced the feeling of revolution here. But let me tell you the story behind. Beta, this is Europe, right? This is Europe. In this Europe, what happened? This particular region, right? This particular region is known as Balkan region. This is known as Balkan region. In this region, since 15th century, right? 15th century, a new power came and that power was Ottoman Empire. That power was Ottoman Empire. And Greece was a region in this Ottoman Empire only. Okay, this is Greece, for example. Now, what happened in Greece, beta? As it was part of Ottoman Empire since 15th century, they were also absolute monarch. They was also seeking for independence, and the struggle for that began in 1821. Right? So, struggle to get independence started in the year 1821. How the struggle was going on? Was the war there? Yes, war was part of it, obviously. But there's something different in the people of Greece, beta. The poet, the artist. You know that the poet and the artist raised the voice that Greece is the cradle of European civilization. Now, why these poet and artists are important? Because up till now, we have not seen something. Right? Up till now, we have not seen that the poet and artists are creating an impact on the people. Here they did. You know that a lot of people were sent to exile in Greece, and they also understand that by Greece is somewhere the civilization started in Europe, and these people are not treated, not given the rights. Hence, we will raise the voice. So the poets, the artists, with the help of folklores, folk songs, folk music, emancipated the feeling of nationalism. Since 1821, here is also example of a poet, Lord Byron. He was an English poet, right? He organized funds and fought in the war that was organized in 1824, but he died in 1824. You know, then later when the struggle goes on and on, in 1832 it was finally when a treaty was signed with the Ottoman Empire, that is Treaty of Constantinople, and here Greece become an independent nation. So when France sneezes, the rest of Europe catches cold. This is age of revolution, when France from an absolute monarchy converted to constitutional monarchy under Louis Philippe as the head. Belgium separated from United Kingdom of Netherlands, and Greece became independent out of Ottoman Empire. This is the storyline. This is the period after extreme, what we can say, pressure created by new conservative. Here started the age of revolution. See from where the chapter we started. We started the chapter how the feeling of nationalism developed. What is a nation? How the people of France developed the feeling of nationalism. How Napoleon came in Europe. How he was challenged by conservatives, and those conservatives now challenged by revolutionaries. The process will go on and on. But we have questions. Sorry from my side because I forget to, what we can say, I don't know how to do that, forget to increase the size of these texts. I hope it is visible, and if not, bacha, no issues. What we can do is I will read it for you. ठीक है? So here the one previous year question that came in 2023, it says that who remarked when France sneezes, the rest of Europe catches cold. I said you this is important statement. So it is Duke Metternich who gave this statement. When France sneezes, the rest of Europe catches cold. Do remember, here he is referring to age of revolution, the period of age of revolution. Do remember this. The next question, which treaty of 1832? People see it lightly. People just forget that one word. But this treaty of 1832 recognized Greece as an independent nation. Which treaty is that? Treaty of Constantinople. We have the subjective question also. How did the Greek War of Independence mobilize nationalist feeling among the educated elite across Europe? How did this feeling of what? Bacha, nationalist feeling. So here you have to write a complete case of the Greece becoming independent out of Ottoman Empire and the role played by Lord Byron, as well as 1821, the starting year of the independence, like starting year for the struggle of independence. Get it? Now something different is seen in Europe, right? Particularly in Greece, that there were poets, there were artists who lauded that it was the cradle of civilization. You know that one philosophy comes. This chapter is a switch on, switch off, switch on, switch off. By French Revolution, switch off. Napoleon came into power, switch off. Liberal nationalism, a philosophy they are telling. Then some events, then some philosophy. Exactly. Now, after those events, let's understand what is going in background, and that background is the feeling of romantic imagination and national feeling. What is this by? What is this romanticism, romantic feeling? So by the way, pay attention, the way in which you show love towards someone, that is romanticism or a romantic feeling. Like you gift a rose to your mother on Mother's Day. What it is the way you are showing love to them, isn't it? You make a greeting card on the Father's Day. It is the way you are showing the love towards them. You're buying a gift for your friend, love towards the friend. So that is what romanticism, romantic feeling. Sometimes you sing a song for someone, sometimes you dance for someone, sometimes you paint for someone, sometimes you tell your love in the form of story. That is romantic imagination, and here the topic is. However, the topic regarding romantic imagination is related to nation here, not a specific person. So what is this feeling, beta, which is known as romanticism? Basically, it is a cultural movement. It is a cultural movement where you show your love towards a nation, you show a sense of belonging towards a nation, and show your nationalist sentiments. Like, let me tell you, when you are in love with someone, either it be your mother, father, friends, anyone can be, you just cannot see any negative side of them. They are best for you. Obviously, it happens. Similarly, beta, when these romantic artists or this philosophy comes na, it comes not from any reason, science, rationality, no reason in love. It rather comes from mystic feelings, emotions, intuitions, right? These romantic artists do not glorify the reason of science and rationality, rather glorify mystic feelings, intuitions. How? In the form of poem, in the form of culture, in the form of dance, in the form of music, their national dress, etc. Do we have the example? Yes. Because from this topic, very, very important and the most repeated question comes, which you are going to write right now in your copy. Right? What is that question, bacha? The question is, how did culture play an important role in raising what, beta? In raising nationalist sentiments. So how did culture play an important role in raising nationalist sentiments? And the answer to this question is likewise. Beta, here there was a German philosopher named as Johann Gottfried Herder. named as Johann Gottfried Herder in the year 1744 to 1803, claimed that the true German culture was to be discovered by the common people. Here a term came, that is Das Volk. Das Volk matlab common people. Das Volk matlab common people. So he said that by only and only that feeling of nationalism can come with the common people. Volk, folk actually. They can't pronounce it as F, and hence it is somewhere Volk, right? Which you call as Volkswagen. It is actually, yeah, which you call as Volkswagen, it is Volkswagen. Okay, so now through folk songs, folk poetry, folk dance, the true spirit of the nation can be popularized, and that can only be done by the common people of the place. What it is? Raising the culture, increasing the culture, feeling of nationalism brought by the culture, and that culture is popularized by the common people there. We have more examples because the question comes for 3 marks. We have to write 3 marks. One of them is about German philosopher Johann Gottfried Herder. The second is about a person in Poland. Name is Karol Kropyvski. What's the name, bacha? Karol Kropyvski, who celebrated the national struggle with the opera, music, singing, dancing and all, and promoted the feeling of nationalist sentiments among the people by this high energy. You know that there are 2 dances mentioned here, Polonaise and Mazurka. Question will come into MCQs. What is Polonaise and Mazurka? And you will be like, this was present in NCERT, is it? But if you're watching my video, you will not feel the same, because I have seen students who miss these words. Right? So, bacha, in Poland, Karol Kropyvski celebrated the national struggle through operas. We got 2 examples. In this question, culture played an important role. You can also mention the third point as the Greece wala part. Yes, they considered it as a cradle of European civilization, and the people lauded it. Okay, 2 examples done. We have more. And here, particularly from culture, language played an important role in raising the nationalist sentiments. Language played a very, very important role. Let me tell you, beta, when the Treaty of Vienna was signed. Which treaty, bacha? When Treaty of Vienna was signed in 1815, after the downfall of Napoleon, there was a region in eastern part of that particular Napoleonic region, that was Poland, where the people speaks the language Polish. You know that who occupied this Poland wala region? Russia occupied this Poland region. Russia. And they were very bad. Why they were very bad? Beta, the Russian people just suppressed them, imposed their language, their culture, their tradition, particularly the language. And here is how language played an important role in raising nationalist sentiments. This Russian occupation over the Polish people did not allow them even to speak the language Polish. This language was forced out of the school, and Russian was imposed everywhere. You can't speak in Polish language, you can't study in language, you can't pray even in that language. So in 1813, an armed rebellion, obviously people will revolt, people will stand against them, as the feeling of nationalism is also growing around the corner. So against this Russian rule took place. And it was ultimately crushed by, see the power of Russia and Poland. Even when in the church gatherings, when the priest, or what I can't call priest, but in the church gathering, when the leaders were giving instructions in the Polish language, they were arrested and sent to exile. Exile in the worst place possible, in the coldest place possible in Russia. So this is how what supremacy of Russia was imposed over Polish people, but they showed here that language can play an important role in raising nationalist sentiments. In raising what, my dear students? Nationalist sentiments. Done? Clear to all my students? Very good. Okay? So here we completed one topic about romantic imagination. After every topic, we have a question to discuss. Okay, so the previous year question, this topic came a lot of times. According to Johann Gottfried Herder, the true German culture, das Volk, was to be discovered among common people. Very easy. Next question. After Russian occupation, the use of which language came to be seen as a symbol for struggle against Russian domination? So by who? Polish language by the people of Poland was a language as a resistance, symbol of resistance. Okay? Many times long question comes from this topic, and this is explain Romanticism as a cultural movement in Europe. Number 1. Okay? Explain what? Romanticism. So you have to give brief intro about Romanticism and certain examples. Question can be explain how culture, right, played an important role. How culture played an important role in raising what, bacha? In raising nationalist sentiments. This is about culture. Okay? Then we will have a question. Explain how language played. The culture word will be replaced by language, and the rest of the question will be same. Here you will talk only about Poland. Here we will talk only and only about bacha what? Poland, not other countries. Done? Very good, yeah. Next, we are, I guess, around like 60% of the chapter done. We are moving towards the major topics of this chapter: unification of Italy, unification of Germany, Frankfurt Parliament. Then we'll move to Britain wala case, Balkan wala case. I know that after hearing all those things, you are thinking, ma'am, the major part of the chapter is left. Yes. Actually, it is true. I will not speak lie here. Yes, it is left, but bacha, all your basics are clear up till here. Okay, let's go back. After understanding the philosophy of Romanticism, go back. What are the events going side by side in Europe? By 1830s, age of revolution started. You know, the situation was worst in the region, and hence this revolution started. But do you feel that the problem is solved? No. This 1830s particularly were the year of great economic hardships in Europe. Great economic hardship. Population was increasing. Job seekers were increasing. There was unemployment all over. People were moving from rural areas to urban areas. When they could not find the job, they were starting and making slums in that area, making it overcrowded. The situation was getting worse day by day. And even in the European countries also, competition was increasing by the nearby regions like Britain. Britain by full furnished at that time, taking resources from India and major colonies all around the world, exporting the finished goods made by our product in large number and giving huge competition to other countries in Europe. Stiff competition from now France is facing, German region is facing, Italian region is facing, Austrian region is facing, that Habsburg, Hungary, everyone is facing the problems. Now what will happen? Revolt. Every solution to every problem is here revolt. Right? Remember that, bacha, in 1830, there was a revolt in France. Which converted France from absolute monarchy to again constitutional monarchy. And who was made the head? I told you to remember the name. That was Louis Philippe. Now what about him? Now he will also be replaced. In 1848, the revolt started in France because of again substantial crisis, food shortage, unemployment, many things. People came on the streets of Paris, and this time this Louis Philippe got scared and ran away. Run away like the bankrupt people in India run away. Right? So he ran away like he is bankrupt. Okay? So yes, Louis Philippe forced to flee, and the National Assembly declared France as republic by finally. Right? Finally, the story of France and here, 1789, since class 9th, we are studying republic, constitutional monarchy, absolute monarchy. Oh, the problem is not over. Come back to republic. Arey bhai, then constitutional monarchy, absolute monarchy. Wait, we will bring back that. So this is going on and on. The cycle is going on and on. But here, Finally, France became republic in the year 1848. A similar such revolt event is seen in Silesia also, where weavers were revolting against the contractors, weavers who used to make clothes and all that. So they fought against the contractors and all of that revolt. Not very important, but yes, that is also a part. So this hunger hardship led to revolt. As a result of this revolt in 1830s, which started 1848, France became republic, replacing the constitutional monarchy under Louis Philippe, because this constitutional monarchy or Louis Philippe as a head flew away in scare, like in danger. Okay, now comes in picture. Okay? Now comes in picture German region. So now pay attention, beta. When Napoleon was in power, he organized the German region into confederacies. Okay? He organized this German region into confederacies. Beta, when we say confederacies, it means that these are the group of people having common language, but different what we can say heads are ruling them. Okay, it comes as a Napoleonic unit, but what happens, beta, he can't rule sitting in France, na? And he give power to some families, group of German families to rule over there. They apply on each other custom duties, they were having different currencies, and hence, for the very first time, for economic interest, right? For economic interest, they came together. Remember everything. They came together forming the custom union. Popularly known as Zollverein. When, bacha? In 1834. Okay? Now this was just an economic unification, but now beta, when this feeling of nationalism is growing all throughout what, Europe, don't you think this German people will also bring that feeling? Yes. And politically for the first time they tried to unite in this parliament, that is Frankfurt Parliament. Right now Frankfurt is a city, okay, where in obviously Germany, by Frankfurt Parliament. Now let us talk about Frankfurt Parliament in detail. Everything. Was it successful or not? Where was it formed? How was it formed? Who were the members and who were not the members? Get it? Now come in picture. Frankfurt Parliament. Germany. I remembered a movie where this slogan was going on. Okay. Movies of the 20s. Who and where? अरे नहीं, not 20s, 90s. ठीक है? So Frankfurt Parliament, beta, 1848, right? So who participated? These were the middle class professionals. Okay, these were whom, beta? The middle class professionals. Now what happened, beta, during this time? See, every time a revolution is started in Europe, the reasons are the middle class professionals, for obvious, because they were the one who were like struggling or sandwiched between the poor and the rich. Always this happens. So the middle class professional, businessmen, prosperous artisans raised their voice and clubbed together themselves in the city of Frankfurt. Let me tell you, beta, this is not the first time they are coming together. You know that every time they raise their voices, to come together, they are suppressed. Now what happened? They came together in the city of Frankfurt. Why? Because they also want all German National Assembly. The National Assembly in a similar manner which was present in France, which made the constitution for the French people. So for obviously, they wanted to make a all German National Assembly so that they can make a constitution for the nation. When did they came together? They came together on 18th of May 1848. How many of them were there? Beta, there were 831 people. You know that these 831 elected representatives which came from this National Assembly, marched in a festive procession to the parliament convened in the Church of St. Paul. So let me clear out more nicely to this. So what happened, beta? This German people getting motivated by the French Revolution in 1848, making France as a republic nation, now came together for a demand of making all German national assemblies conducted an election, right? 831 members get elected. They started a march on 18th of May 1848 and moved toward city of Frankfurt, right? A place that is known as Saint Paul, Church of Saint Paul, and convened a parliament there. Like we have the parliament which makes the law for the country. So convened a parliament from there, and there they drafted a constitution. They made a constitution, right, for the German nations headed by a monarchy subject to the parliament. Basically, beta, they made a constitution. Right? To the constitution, monarch will be now answerable. Monarch will be subjected to the parliament, will give reasons for every action, and this is what is known as constitutional monarchy. This is what is known as constitutional monarchy. Get it or not? Right? So German states also wanted to make them constitutional monarch state. Now a very, very big question, who will be the monarch? Who will be the monarch? And this is one of the reasons for the failure of this parliament. Now we will see the points that is it successful? No, it is not successful. It became failed. This process of forming a parliament, writing a constitution for the all German nation states failed in a way. Why? Because now they went with an offer to the king of Prussia. They reached to the king of Prussia that by listen, we have written the constitution because we are the elected representatives. We formed a parliament. We wrote a constitution. Will you become? You have to become the constitutional monarch of the German state. Now, who was he? Frederick Wilhelm IV. Frederick Wilhelm IV outrightly rejected the offer. He said that, do you think that I'm mad or what? Do you think that I will be answerable to the parliament? Do you think that I need to be checked by the parliament? No, bhai. I will be on the side of absolute parliament, monarchy, because I also believe in conservatism. Getting my point? So this person, Frederick Wilhelm IV, rejected the offer to become the constitutional monarch and joined other monarch against the assembly. Obviously. The second and the most important reason for the failure is they were dominated by middle classes. See, who made this Frankfurt Parliament middle class? You know that there were a lot of demands by workers and artisans which were resisted by this middle class, and hence the support from the workers and peasants somewhere took it away. Right? The third and the most important reason is about women. You know that every time in the German region where there was any war, where there were any demand, anything, the women were standing behind them. But when this parliament was formed, women were denied the suffrage right. You know what is suffrage right? Right to vote. They were denied. And though they had actively participated, they were merely treated as observers. When you will see this picture in your book, you will find that there is a gallery over here where women were just standing and not even a single seat was provided to them, and it proves that there was no equality for men and women in this Frankfurt Parliament, and these are the reasons that this Frankfurt Parliament failed here. Right? Getting my point, my dear students? Now comes how the question come in the examination. But the questions can come in a manner. First, right? First, explain Frankfurt Parliament. Explain Frankfurt Parliament, or write a short note on Frankfurt Parliament. This is the very first question that comes straightforward, right? So straightforward from NCERT. But there is also one question that can come right to you for 3 marks, that what are the reasons? Okay? What are the reasons for the failure? Reasons for the failure of Frankfurt Parliament. For the failure of Frankfurt Parliament. What are the reasons for the failure of Frankfurt Parliament? And this is also a very, very important question which we sometimes miss. Getting a point? So here very, very important topic is covered by us, but we won't go anywhere without solving the PYQs. And that is the rule from now. Okay, so here the first question speaks in the form of MCQs. The Frankfurt Parliament convened on 18th May 1848 was convened in where? Options are Palace of Versailles, Church of St. Paul, Vienna Congress Hall and the Berlin Reichstag. Beta, because there are certain terms which do not belong to us, that do not belong to our land, the name of them we sometimes forget. There is the name Vienna also in the book, Versailles in the book, Berlin Reichstag is not there, but you studied it in last year, so you can get confused. So please pay attention that Church of St. Paul is the correct answer, because the middle class elected representative took a procession and reached towards the Church of St. Paul on 18th of May 1848. Okay, next question. Who rejected the crown offered by the Frankfurt Parliament and joined other monarchs to oppose the elected assembly? Beta, so similar names, right? So similar names are going to come in front of you, like William, Wilhelm. You can again get confused. So it is not Kaiser William II. Otto von Bismarck is obviously not the part. It is Frederick Wilhelm of Prussia. There might be chance that Prussia is not given to you, and hence you can get confused. Duke Metternich was the Chancellor of Austria, right? He is the Chancellor of Austria. Okay? When you will study the Germany wala part, you will see Otto von Bismarck's role in that. When you will study Germany again, you will see that Kaiser William was the first ruler of the what? United Germany. Okay? So it is yet to come now. Just change I need to do. Wait for a second. Okay, great. Now I will be little brighter. Fine. Now coming to the next topic. What is that? Yes, straightforward we are moving towards unification of Germany. A topic that is direct, that is unification of Germany, which you might have seen up till now a lot of times. Okay? A lot of times. So now let me tell you about the region, that is German region. Beta, this region belongs to the people who speaks the language Germany, right? Have some common ethnicity, their language, their tradition, their culture. If we go back and see this German region, it was divided into certain kingdoms. It was divided into certain kingdoms, certain duchies, or it can be cantonments or cantons, right? That means it was continuously being ruled by one kingdom to another. Like if we see India, we will see that by India, which is forged as a united nation now, was ruled by Rajput somewhere, was ruled by Maratha somewhere, was ruled by Mughal somewhere. Okay, so this was the same thing which we saw in the parts of Germany. Now what happened, beta? Then Napoleon came into power. Napoleon, who was proclaimed as a Emperor of France in 1804. When he just occupied this region of Germany, he converted it into 39 confederacies. Okay, 39 confederacies. Now, it clearly means is that if this is the region of Germany, there was Prussia, there was Reichstag, there was different region ruled by different kingdoms. Okay, but those kingdoms belongs to same family. Like if I tell you in India, there was Maratha Empire which divided into certain confederacies like Sindhyas, like Holkars, like Gaikwads. So that confederacy, that means somewhere they have a common origin. Similar way, they were given the power to different kings. Those kings have different currencies, they have different weights and measures, and lot of differences, but one commonality, that they all belong to the German region. Right? And hence the process for unification, however, this was the process for economic unification. This was the process for economic unification was first seen in the year, that is 1834, in the form of custom union. In the form of custom union, when the group came together and formed a union popularly known as sovereign, right? Just to make them united in terms of economy. Right? But later on, as the feeling of nationalism was growing day by day, later on as the feeling of nationalism was growing day by day, but now they formed Frankfurt Parliament. Now they form Frankfurt Parliament. In which year, bacha? So this was formed in the year 1848. Now I think that you know the background of what story we are going to study. After this Frankfurt Parliament, let me tell you beta, there will be unification of Germany. There will be what? Unification of Germany. But how does the process goes? Let us talk about that. Okay? And finally, Germany will be unified in the year 1871, which we have to study. You know that every time, right? Every time they raised their voice, every time they wanted to club together like they did in Frankfurt Parliament, they were suppressed badly. Like who did not accepted this offer to become constitutional monarch? It was that monarchy, right? Frederick Wilhelm IV, he denied the offer. So they were suppressed by always either the monarchy, okay, or the military because they fight a war against them, or the large landowners. The large what bacha? Landowners. You know that these large landowners were referred as junkers. Now who are the junkers? Who are owning the large lands. They don't want equality. They don't want rights to be given to the common people, poor people, otherwise they will ask for the land distribution too, which they are getting only because of the benefit of social differences. Okay. So now, can army be the architect of the nation? This is a heading that you can see right now on your screen. The question sometimes come directly because yes, the unification of Germany is only and only possible with the help of war. It is only and only possible with the help of what, my dear students? War. So when we see Germany, see, this is the map of Germany. This is the map of Germany. Okay? Around 1815. Around what, my dear students? 1815. Right? If you look at the map and understand everything nicely, this is Prussia. This is yellow color wala. This is Prussia, which is one of the largest region in Germany. Prussia, okay? Which consists of present day capital Berlin also. Other than that, there were parts like Saxony, Thuringia, then we have Bavaria, many more. Hanover, this is the city of Frankfurt, right? Mecklenburg and many more. Habsburg. So it was divided into regions, it was divided into kingdoms as I just told you. So what happened in 1848, then these people tried to associate, collect themselves in the demand of democracy, in the demand of what? In the demand of revolution. But now, conservative sentiments, nationalist sentiments were clashing with each other. But after when France became republic, beta, this nationalist sentiments were raising day by day within the people of Germany. And here, one of the largest region of Germany took the stand that I will be the one to unite Germany, and that was Prussia. That was what, beta? Prussia. But through how? Through war. And it was only and only possible through war, and hence the heading says, can the army be the architect of the nation? Yes, by army can be the architect of the nation. That is very, very much clear to us by unification of Germany, which took 7 years. How many years, beta? 7 years. From 1866 to 1871, the war was going on. As nationalist feeling was growing among the middle class liberal people, they were always suppressed by the combined forces of monarchy, military, and the large landowners, as I just told you. This will be the first line to your answer. Okay, this will be the first line to the answer. Who took the leadership, beta? Prussia took the leadership of the movement of the national unification. Who took the leadership? Prussia. Who was the chief minister in Prussia at that time? The famous person, that is Otto von Bismarck. The famous person whose name is Otto von Bismarck. He was the architect of this process. Question will come, who is the architect of the German unification? By only and only person, that is Otto von Bismarck, is the architect of this complete process, carried out with the help of Prussian army and bureaucracy. Obviously, he needs support. Prussian army was there, bureaucrats were there, diplomats were there, right? Obviously. So, Otto von Bismarck is the person who chose the policy of blood and iron. Who chose the policy of what, my dear students? Blood and iron. A policy that is only and only possible with the help of war. Okay? He was smart enough, took war as the basis, and this war continued for 7 years with 3 different states. How many states, beta? 3 different states, 3 wars in 7 years, one against Austria, the other against Denmark, and the other against France, which were taking over these territories at that time. Okay, what happened? The result was Prussian victory in 1871. It was Prussian victory in 1871. It was the month, the cold month in Germany, January 1871. All these people came together at the Hall of Versailles. Now, this is something you need to remember. A ceremony that was held at Versailles, where there were Prussian kings, there was chief minister, and everyone, middle class people, all come together and proclaimed Kaiser William I as the German emperor. Right? And finally, who became the German emperor of unified Germany? So it was beta Kaiser, right? Kaiser William II. Now, just take a pause and think about the questions which I am asking to you. So what was the first time when they tried to economically unify themselves? Answer in your mind, right? When was Frankfurt Parliament convened? Answer in your mind, right? Who were the participants in the Frankfurt Parliament? Was the Frankfurt Parliament failed and why? How many members were there in the Frankfurt Parliament? Right? Where was it convened? Done. When we talk about the process of the unification of Germany, how many years does it take? How many wars were fought? With whom the war was fought? And when was Germany unified? Next question is, who became the emperor of unified Germany and when? This process or this assembly was convened at which place? These are some pointers, some questions that you need to keep in your mind because they are going to come in MCQ format. And when I talk about the questions, how question comes from unification of Germany, here is the list. One is a previously PYQ. Who among the following was the architect of the unification of Germany? Is it Otto I Bismarck, William I, Frederick III, William II? By architect, single person, that is Otto I Bismarck. Okay, the next is about CBSE board MCQ. Prussian fought 3 wars over 7 years, ending in victory and the unification of Germany against. Was it Austria, Poland and France, Austria, Denmark and France, Austria, Turkey and France, or Austria, England and France? So this is quite complicated. So it is ADF. ADF. It's not KGF, it's ADF. Okay, remember this. Let's do one thing. A, B, C, D, E, F. Okay? A plus 2, D plus 1. Right? A, D, F. Austria, Denmark and France. So, A plus 2 plus 1. Okay? A plus 2, D plus 1, F. Getting my point? This can be the way we can remember things. When we do such things, it comes into our mind. There was no mnemonic which I was able to find about it, and hence I did this. You can choose yours one. If you find that mine was nonsense, you can do yours too. Coming to the board favorite type of questions, briefly trace the process of unification of Germany. But I would suggest you don't trust me if you don't do. Pick up the paper, the question paper that come last year, and see that was there unification of Germany and Italy, not, or there it was. Okay, and then find out that how many times it is being repeated in the past 10 years. You will get the result and then you will trust me. Now coming towards the second unification stage of a country, that is Italy. Right? A long history of political fragmentation. A long history of political fragmentation. But if we talk about Italy was politically fragmented as we talk about Germany. Right? There were people who speak the language Italy. There were people who have certain commonalities. But again, it was divided into different political units. It was divided into different political units. It was scattered under different dynastic states and multination. As a part of Habsburg Empire. So now what happened? If we look at the time of during mid-19th century, that means 1850, Italy was divided into 7 states. Italy was divided into 7 states. Let me share you the map. If it is not visible to you, I am just drawing the outline of Italy, which can be even rough, but yeah. So this was Italy. ठीक है, this was Italy beta. It was divided in a manner, pay attention, it was divided in a manner that this was Sardinia Piedmont. This yellow color wala part was Sardinia Piedmont, which include Parma, Modena, Tuscany. ठीक है, this was Sardinia Piedmont. So this region was ruled by, this is Sardinia, right beta. This is the only region which was ruled by an Italian princely ruler. ठीक है, an Italian princely ruler. So the dynasty belonged to the Italian people only. I hope this is visible to you. The next is this Lombardy and Venetia. This wala part, Lombardy and Venetia in the map. Beta, this was ruled by Austrian rulers at that time. Austrian rulers at that time. ठीक है, when I move to this kingdom of both Sicilies, the one in purple, right beta, this was ruled by the Bourbon dynasty of Spain. Okay, it has no relation with that of France, so don't think that it is France wali dynasty. It is Bourbon dynasty of Spain. ठीक है, when I talk about the center one, this is known as Papal State, which was then hand over to Pope, which were backed by France. So this is how Italy was politically fragmented at that time, divided into different dynastic rulers at that time, like India, as I told you. Right? The north was under Austrian Habsburg, the center was ruled by Pope, the south was under Bourbon dynasty, and only in the Sardinia Piedmont, the Italian princely ruler is ruling. Now what happened? Right, what happened? Beta, like Italian language have many regional and local variation like we have in Hindi in India. So in Hindi you will find that there are different variations. Somewhere they speak Brij Bhasha, somewhere they speak Malvi, somewhere it's Bundelkhandi, somewhere it's Khadi Bhasha, etc. Similarly, these people speak the language Italy, but they have regional variations in the language as well as customs too. So uniting a country like this was a task. Who started this task? Who saw the vision of this task? Now the question here is, so when we were studying about one topic, that is age of revolution, please remember, age of revolution, I discussed about one person, that was Giuseppe Mazzini, if you remember beta. Giuseppe Mazzini was an Italian revolutionary and he saw a vision. You know, what was the dream of this person? To form a united republic Italy, right? United Italian Republic. Is it the dream of Giuseppe Mazzini? Yes. You know that this person became the soul of this unification because by those underground societies he formed, which were named as what? Young Italy, Young Europe, right? He started certain underground activities, revolutions, particularly in the year 1831 and 1848, but they failed. It does not mean the process will stop. After Giuseppe Mazzini got failed, the responsibility, right? The responsibility to unify Italy fell onto the person who is an Italian, onto the person who is an Italian princely ruler. Who is that? Victor Emmanuel II, who was ruling Sardinia Piedmont at that time. Yes, this Sardinia Piedmont we were talking about in the map. ठीक है, so it went into the hands of Victor Emmanuel II beta. Now in the court of Victor Emmanuel II, there was a very smart intelligent person, very smart intelligent person named as Chief Minister Cavour. Named as what? Chief Minister Cavour, who can considered to be as a brain of this unification, the mastermind behind this unification. Like you guys see the masterminds in Big Boss. I don't know you watch it or not, but still. So now talking about this person, beta, he was neither a revolutionary like Giuseppe Mazzini, nor a democrat person, nor he think about that let's give right to everyone, etc, etc. But he was the chief minister of the ruler Victor Emmanuel II. You know that he was a diplomatic person, that he even speak French better than Italian. He did not know the Italian language as better as he should know being an Italian, or like in the process of unification he has a role. So, because at that time, beta, all those diplomatic peoples, all those rich people used to speak the language French. Napoleon came at that time. Do you remember? So now, beta, to a tactful diplomatic alliance with France, Sardinia-Piedmont defeated the Austrian forces in 1859. He made a plan. Because he speaks French better, he took the help of French people, and after that, Sardinia-Piedmont, that means this region, initiated the war against the Austrian forces, and from the places Lombardy and Venetia, this Austrian forces were drove away in 1859. The question will come, when did Lombardy and Venetia, right, became the part of Sardinia, Piedmont or Italy? The years are also given here. Beta, Venetia was in officially, when I talk about paperwork, it was in 1866. So once a question came as MCQ from this topic, right? However, the war was won in 1859. The war won in 1859. So the Austrian forces drove away. A part was now collected to this region. So this region, along with Sardinia, Piedmont, Lombardy and Venetia, comes under the Italian state. Okay? Now this diplomatic alliance done. Next person came in the picture. There are three people dedicated for unification of Italy. The third person is Garibaldi. Giuseppe Garibaldi. If you feel that these were Giuseppe Mazzini and Garibaldi were brothers, no. Only they have one connection, that when Mazzini formed the secret society, he joined it. Who? Garibaldi joined it. Now Garibaldi did what? He prepared army, popularly known as Red Shirts army, right? He was the sword of the particular unification. So there are three people: the soul who planned it, who imagined it, right? The brain who actually processed it, and the third one, the sword, who will make it possible. What he did, beta? So he in 1860 marched into South Italy with his army, right, towards the kingdom of Two Sicilies with his armed forces, winning the support of local peasants, driving out the Spanish ruler. So he's a person who actually drove away the Spanish ruler from the southern part of Italy and get it merged into Italian state. That is when in 1861 it is known as Victor Emmanuel II, proclaimed as the king of United Italy. When did Italy become united? 1861. Right? 1861. If you are thinking, ma'am, what about this center wala part which was ruled by Pope? Bacha, let me tell you, they were backed and supported by France, right? Meanwhile, correspondingly, if you remember from 1866 to 71, they were fighting with Germany, and they will themselves leave this part. This portion is not given in your CBSE book, and hence we need not to write it. Okay? This is it what is required. Now the question can come, explain trace the process of unification of Italy, in which you have to write about these three individual people and their role. They can even ask you about the role they played independently. Okay, let's recall what happened just now, which is not in our mind. So beta, when we talk about Italy, it was politically divided, it was politically fragmented into different states. Into what? Different states. Now, who took the charge to unify it? Before taking the charge, there was someone who saw the vision. Who was it? Mazzini. He decided that I have a vision to make an unified republic, Italian republic. He started some revolutions but failed, and hence the responsibility fell on Victor Emmanuel II, the ruler of this region, Sardinia, Piedmont. Right? He had one mastermind in his ministerial positions, and that was Cavour, Chief Minister Cavour, Count de Cavour. Diplomat person, French, with the help of France, made an alliance with France, drove away the Austrian forces from Lombardy and Venetia in 1859. Important is the year. Then came in charge Garibaldi with his armed forces, drove away the Spanish rulers from southern Italy in the year 1860, and Italy became united in 1861 with ruler Victor Emmanuel II. Now repeat the same process I did with you in Germany. Close the book, Pause the video and try to question who participated, when participated, who became the ruler, when it became independent, role of Garibaldi, role of Cavour, and role of what? Mazzini. This is it. The process is simple. The answer is quite simple. If you will learn it once, no one is going to take out this Italy unification from your mind for sure. The next one are the questions, previous year questions which came from this topic. Which one of the following region became a part of United Italy in 1866? I told you that this question came in last year, and yes, the answer is Venetia. Right? If you will not see the map that is attached to you in the NCERT beta, it can somewhere lose your marks. It can somewhere lose your marks. Now the second is, who proclaimed King of United Italy in 1861? So obviously it was Victor Emmanuel II, the then ruler of Sardinia, Piedmont, was proclaimed the united ruler of this United Italy. Okay? The question can come, like Germany, Italy too had a long history of political fragmentation. Explain in your words. So you are going to explain them in detail. Done with this topic, right? Happy, feeling relaxed that we did 3 important topics up till now. One was Italy, Germany, and Frankfurt Parliament. The 2 most important topics are still remaining. That is one, strange case of Britain, and the next one is beta, that is Balkan crisis. See, this is the one single chapter which is going to tell you the entire history of geography, and hence obviously it is lengthy and have a switch on, switch off button. We completed France, everything about France. Then we completed everything about Germany. The next we did about Italy. Now it is the high time we will proceed with the strange case of Britain. Important 5-mark question. Important what, bacha? 5-marker question. So the British nation state, okay? The British nation state, which you see right now, Britain, United Kingdoms, the Great Britain, and different terminologies, and all the time you hear that, you might be wondering that what do we call it as? Can we call it as England? Let's call it as Britain, or we call it as Great Britain, or we call it as United Kingdom. What actually is the place known as? This particular part will clear all your doubts right now. Okay, so it starts with the strange case of Britain. The heading itself says that yes, it is strange. Why? Because like in Germany, there was war. Like in Italy, there was a mastermind, there were certain wars, there were bloodshed all over. No such thing was the part of British unification. Or I would say, making Britain Great Britain, no such thing happened. No war, no continuous war against the country. Rather, it is not the result of any sudden upheaval, nor any war, nor any revolution that took place in France. Rather, it is a long drawn process that took one after the another step, and result into the formation of United Kingdom later. Okay, getting my point? When question comes in a manner that British nation state was not the result of sudden upheaval or revolution, rather it is a long drawn process, explain, you have to write the points which we are going to discuss right now. Okay, so let's go back and see the history of this region. But before 18th century, there was no British as a nation. There was no Britain. The great nation, which is considered as some of the big 4 nations right now, was not actually in existence before this 18th century. The primary identities of the people were ethnic. What is that? The primary identities of the people were ethnic. Right? Let me tell you what happened na beta. See this map that is given in your book. See this map that is given in your book. So, basically it was group of islands. It was what? Group of islands. Different islands. Isles which we call as. Right? Islands which were even smaller than Sri Lanka today. Right? These islands which have different ethnic groups. By ethnic groups means the people speaking different language. Right? So this was a region in light purple color where people speaks the language English, and hence the land become England. People speaks the language English and the land become England. This was the region beta where people speaks the language Irish and the land became Ireland. This is again the region where people speak Scottish language and the land became Scotland. And this was the region, that is Wales right now, where people speaks the language Welsh. Now what happened? This group of different ethnic identities, among them one became very, very powerful. It happens in the family, na? There are 4 brothers. One among them is quite rich than others. So when that person will become rich, the others will feel like, yaar, he's dominating us, he's showing off to us, he's like this, he's having power, he's dictating us. Sometimes it happens in chacha and mamas, right? Similarly, in this group of people which contains English, Welsh, Scot or Irish, this English people became very, very powerful. Day by day, they were getting power. You know one strange thing about Britain? Right, what we can't imagine. When France was nowhere thinking about parliament, they were not thinking about parliament, Germany not thinking about parliament, this English people, right? This English people seized the power from monarchy in 1688. This does not mean that monarchy does not exist. It is existing up till now. So there was monarchy, but they made one more thing, that is parliament. They made what, beta? Parliament. The English parliament which became powerful, and monarch became responsible to the parliament. Hence, the system is constitutional monarchy. So this English powerful became so powerful, seized the power of monarch, and what happened now? Now what happened? Now this powerful parliament wants more power. As we know the history of Britain, as we actually know the history of Britain, what happened? What happened? It not only targeted the nearby regions, but it targeted the other colonies also around Asia and Africa. So why he will not keep an eye on the neighbors? For obvious reasons he will do that. So beta, what happened after this English parliament becoming more and more powerful? Now his eyes went on the nearby regions. Nearby regions like Scotland and Ireland and Welsh. In this book, we are given with Scottish as well as Ireland wala case. We will learn about them. So now what happened with this region Scotland, where people used to speak the language Scottish, they have to sign the Act of Union because of the power of Britain in the year 1707. So Act of Union been signed. Up till now there were different kingdoms of English people, kingdoms of Scottish people. Now both of them united. Right, united with this Act of Union, and hence it came to be known as United Kingdom. It came to be known as beta United Kingdom of whom? The British people are saying them, we are great, and hence United Kingdom of Great Britain. Scotland went into the hands of Britain and now has to face the irony. Right? This England was able to impose its influence on Scotland. Their distinctive culture, their political institutions were systematically suppressed. Okay, all the powers of the English people were forcefully implied on them, like their language, their culture, the national flag, their everything. They were not even allowed to wear their national dress. You know that in Scotland there were Catholic clans, group of people who were known as Scottish Highlanders. They were terribly repressed when they raised their voice. They were forced not to wear their national dress and not to speak their language, that is Gaelic language. And this is how power from the Scottish people was taken. This is how the power from the Scottish people were taken. Now when I talk about Ireland, pay attention to it. The second territory, the second isle, the part of Ireland nearby this region of England, what happened with them? Ireland was deeply divided into two groups, Catholics and Protestants. But like Muslims have two groups, Shia and Sunni. Like in Jainism there are two groups, Shvetambars and Dikambars, if you know. The similar way, Christians were also, there were two type of Christians. One were Catholics, okay, and they were Protestants. Okay, they were Protestants. Their churches are also different. They have two different groups. Okay, the Catholics are considered to be as from those who were from the starting. The Protestants are those who actually protested against the practices done by Catholics and the church, and it is basically, it came after the voice raised by Martin Luther. This you will study in Print and Culture. ठीक है. So what I want to tell you that beta they was divided into two groups and the English helped the Protestants. See, the English people were dominated or majoritarily what? Protestants. Here this Ireland kingdom is also divided into two people, Catholics and Protestants. However, the Catholics were more in number. Who were more in number? Catholics. But the support of England was provided to Protestants. The internal clashes started in Ireland region. The Catholics revolt against them, but now British has suppressed them and started dominating it. Every time they revolted, it became fail, either by Wolfe Tone or United Irishmen. And what happened? Ireland was forcefully incorporated a part of England. Again, one more kingdom in this United Kingdom of Great Britain added. That is Scotland. Forcefully incorporated in this kingdom in 1801. But when we forcefully incorporate people, right, do you think that they will feel belongingness to that United Kingdom? No, not at all. What is the chapter? Chapter's name is Nationalism. Did somewhere this people of Scotland, this people of Ireland might have felt that unification, might have felt that they wanted to be the part of United Kingdom, or they have any belongingness to that territory? No. But here also Britain tried by implementing something that is the symbols of New Britain. What are they? Initiated the hosting of British flag known as Union Jack. The next is about the national anthem, God Save Our Noble King, and the English language to be implemented everywhere. Not only this, now it is everywhere, literally everywhere, because of this imperialism played by Britishers. Okay, don't you think that this is actually the strange case and goes as per the heading given by NCERT to us? Yes. Right? Yes, very, very important in terms of our exam, and the question comes a lot of times, beta. The questions can be, now see, briefly trace the process of that is strange case of Britain. Strange case of Britain that can come directly or indirectly, like it is not the process that is result of sudden upheaval or any revolution, but it is a long drawn process. Number one. The second type of question can be only particular about Scotland, that the Scotland distinctive culture and political institutions were systematically suppressed. In that beta, don't write about Ireland, don't write about anything, just an introduction and then these points. Okay, you will get the marks. Let's see how the question came previous year. So yes, this is a question. Act of Union 1707 between England and Scotland resulted into the formation of what? Very easy. United Kingdom of Great Britain. Next question. Ireland was forcibly incorporated into the United Kingdom in the year 1801. Now one question from my side to you. When was Scotland made the part of United Kingdoms? Please answer this right now in the comment section so that I can see are you wake up or sleeping still. A long question that's board favorite. Yes, the formation of British nation state were different from the rest of Europe. There was no bloodsheds, there were no revolution, no upheaval. Rather, it is a long drawn process. Explain with the suitable examples or arguments you will tell about Scotland and Ireland in brief in this answer, because this is for 5 marks and can save you how many marks beta? 5 marks. Perfect. Very good. Are we done? No. Right? Before moving to the last topic of this chapter, before moving to what? The last topic of the chapter, I have something that is the allegory of the nation. The Bharat Mata, which you see right now, is the allegory of Indian nation. So by that, can you understand what is allegory? Beta, allegory means that all the nations are portrayed as a female figure. To feel connected to it, like when we call our land India as Bharat Mata, somewhere we feel connection to that, because in India the mother is at top level, isn't it? Similarly, in the world, nations are portrayed as female figure. The female form did not stand for any particular women in real life. It is not something existing women in real life. Rather, it is idea of a nation, a concrete idea of the nation. right? For a 2-marker question, a definition can come and they will ask you to write with examples, suitable examples, again given in your book. Okay? This is the picture of Meraine. Who is Meraine, beta? Meraine is the allegory of France. What you have to figure out, which is important, that here her characteristics are coming from the idea of liberty. Please beta, pay attention. Even in the Constitution of India, we have the word liberty and it is borrowed from the idea of France. The French Revolution gives us one important thing. What is that? That is the idea of liberty. Okay? Social, economic, political. Did you remember that we studied this point? Yes. So a characteristic drew from the idea of liberty and the republic, the red cap, the tricolor, the cockade. Her images appeared on the coins and stamps. This image. Okay, when a question comes separately, the pointers are here. Then we have another figure, that is Germania. I know that when you were seeing that picture of Frankfurt, you have not noticed it, that this picture was hanging right in the church of St. Paul at the wall. Please go and check it right now. So yes, this is the figure of Germania. Germany wears the crown of oak leaf. By sea, this is the crown of oak leaves, which stands for heroism. Because what made Germany as united was war, was the policy of blood and iron. And she became the symbol of united Germany, or a German nation. Okay? This is not only symbols which we got in the entire process of Europe, rather we got lot of symbols here and they have their significance and the meaning. Pick up the question paper of 2024, you will find an objective asked from this topic. For sure, for sure. So, let us learn them. Okay, see this picture which is given in my left, which contains lot of items like broken chain is there, there is a sword kept, right, there is a plate with eagles drawn on it, there is a flag, rising sun, we can see the rays of the rising sun. Let's see what does they mean. So here it is a broken chain, meaning being free. Being what, bacha? Being free. Obviously broken chain when you feel that we are free now. Okay? Breastplate with eagle. What does it stands for? It is the symbol of German Empire that represents strength in them. That represents what? Strength in them. The what, beta? Breastplate with eagle. Now we have crown of oak leaves also, which we saw in the picture of Germania too, which represents heroism. Sword, always ready to fight. Like there are a lot of students now who speak very straightforward and always ready to fight, because this is exactly like the sword, right? Olive branches around the sword. See, this is the olive branches around the sword, which means willingness to make peace. So there is always two students who are best friends. One who is always ready to fight, and the another one who is willing to make peace. Like if I tell you about me, I have a best friend. She is very calm, very composed, and always makes me feel, Arey Tanvi, please don't fight. Okay, it's okay. And I am like always ready to fight. So yes. So we can call each other as sword and olive branches around the sword. So black, red and gold triangular flag that represents liberal nationalism in 1848 in France. If you remember, the tricolor flag of France. Okay? Which consists, okay. Then rays of the rising sun, that is beginning of the new era. Yes, the question can come in 1 marker type of question. Does any time this question came? Yes. Beta. The allegory of German nation who wears a crown of oak leaf is what? Meraine, Britannia, Union Jack or Germania? So by very easy, Germania. In France, the allegorical female figure of the nation whose image appeared on coins and stamps, Meraine. Okay? Very easy. Now see this question which is very important. That is, how did female figure become an allegory of the nation during the 19th century in Europe? Please analyze. This is the board question asked in the year 2016. If you were thinking that this is small topic and will not come, you were wrong. Moving towards last topic of the chapter, congratulating each one of you who is watching my video up till now, because you did a splendid job and I'm proud of you that you completed one of the most hectic, one of the most lengthiest chapter of your class 10 journey. And we will be completing each chapter in the same manner. I promise you that, I assure you that you will get good marks after watching this. Now last topic, that is Balkan crisis, Europe after 1871. By what happened in Europe after 1871? See, now when you are seeing all the incidents after 1871 in Europe, let's figure out what happened in Europe up till now. By revolutions were going on, Napoleon came into power, new conservatives came into power. There were revolution going in different regions of Europe at that time. France in 1848 became republic. In the German region, fight was going continuously. They become united in 1871. Similarly, Italy became united in 1861. Something is going in Austria, something was going in Spain, Portuguese. So this was the part of Western and Central Europe majorly. But there was one more region in the Eastern Europe particularly, which started with crisis after 1871, and this is Eastern Europe region, popularly known as what, bacha? Popularly known as Balkan region. What it is known as? Balkan region. If you are confused about what is Balkan region, beta, in present day, when you will see the map, you will see certain countries like Croatia, Bosnia, Herzegovina, Bulgaria, Macedonia, Albania, Romania. This region was known as what? Balkan region. During the time we are talking about here, there was a dynasty ruling, that is Ottoman Empire. That is what, beta? Ottoman Empire. This dynasty is known as Ottoman Empire. Right? It ruled the region of Europe since 15th to 18th century. It ruled the region of Europe since 15th to 18th century. Right? If we talk about this Ottoman Empire, beta, this empire was autocratic in nature. This empire was autocratic in nature. You know what is autocratic? Does not give any rights to its citizens. It does not provide any right to its citizens. Okay? So again, Balkan region, which consists of countries right now, right, was a region divided into different ethnic groups at that time. Obviously, different regions ruled by different kingdoms, divided by different ethnic groups. But now, there will be a crisis. Okay? This region is ruled by Ottoman Empire since 15th century, which was autocratic in nature, which do not provide any rights to the people. Now, what happened, beta? Okay? This region is a great geographical and ethnic variation wala region. The people who used to live here were known as Slavs. The people which used to live here were known as what? Slavs. Right? Now, when the nations in the Central and Western Europe were getting unified, becoming republic, the nationalist feeling which was raising so far very much in other parts of Europe, gradually that feeling reached to the people here also. Because as they were ruled by Ottoman Empire, it was the high time they wanted the Ottoman Empire to move out and make them nation. Right? Its subject nationalists broke away, basing their claims to become independence on the basis of nationality. They wanted to become a nation state like France, Germany, Italy, and other European countries. So now what happened, beta? To become a nation, they need to identify their territories. They need to do what? Identify their territories. As this region consisted of lot of people with different ethnic variations, what happened? One region became fiercely jealous of other region, and everyone wanted more territory at the expense of other. By obviously, why we and our neighbor countries are fighting, or they are fighting with us, just because the reason is that territory, the part of territory. Similarly, there were a lot of clashes during this time when each region or ethnic group become fiercely jealous of each other and hoping for more and more and more territory. Now what will happen, beta? Whenever there is a fight between you and your neighbor, ठीक है, there's some person in the other house who is enjoying your fight, or whenever there is a fight in your neighborhood, you will go to the balcony and obviously see it and enjoy it. Similarly, when this group of people in Balkan crisis or Balkan region were fighting with each other, the big power came in picture. There might be someone in the colony who will come like an women teaching you that, Ati, don't do that, don't do that. The other party also. ठीक है? Right? Trying to make yourself more fierce or try to settle down. Okay? So now here the great powers, that is Russia, Germany, England and Austro-Hungary, came here because they saw this as an opportunity. They saw that if we will help one ethnic group and it becomes a nation because of us, for the lifetime it will become our friend and will help us in everything, like accessing to Adriatic Sea. Then we have more territories which are very much useful to us and the resources too. So they played smartly to counter the hold over the other. And the combination of these, right, these people in the Balkan region, these big power entry resulted into series of wars. Series of wars among each other will finally result into the First World War in 1940, and hence this particular event is known as Balkan crisis. Is known as what, my dear students? Balkan crisis. And hence we end the chapter for the day. But we will not go without solving the PYQs as promised. So the inhabitants of the Balkan region were broadly known as, okay, were the Slavs, Magyars, the Junkers or the Gauls, it is Slavs. Okay? The next is beta. In the 19th century, a large part of the Balkan were under the control of Ottoman Empire. Take long question. How did nationalist tensions in the Balkans aligned with imperialism lead Europe to disaster in 1914? But one thing that you have to understand here is, we started the chapter with the feeling of nationalism. We started the chapter with the feeling of nationalism, in which I told you that, beta, when you want your nation as first. We started with America first policy, cricket match to be won by India all the time, United Kingdom to use as much as resources of the other countries. So what was it? It was initially nationalism. But this nationalism converted into disaster, that is when they wanted to be imperial. Imperial means the only power in the world. The only power in the world. Like when Britain became imperial, it exploited and suppressed India as a colony. Not only India, many other colonies. Imperialism is the basically result of nationalism, and this imperialism leads to what? First World War, and later the sequential Second World War. Right? I just hope there is no Third World War in the world, otherwise nothing will remain. We are aware about that. So this is your chapter. Very, very happy to see you till the last of the video, because you have done it. My students have done it, and that chapter is very important, beta. I hope whenever I told you to make the notes, whenever I wrote anything in the video, you wrote it. Whenever I told you anything here, you were doing it. Okay? This video is going to be uploaded today. And if you in case want the notes of this, I will tell you again, we will get it in the AIO page of Vedantu. This AIO page of Vedantu, which I will tell you right now. So this is the calendar view. Okay, I'll tell you from the starting. So, okay, wait, my courses, array bhai. Wait, the doubt, yes, you can like ask the doubt also. If we go to my courses, you have these courses. Okay, you are in CBSE class 10. For this courses, you have to hit the link that is given in the description. You have to buy it. That is just for 0 rupees to give you access to the smart notes which we studied together. You studied with me. ठीक है. You will choose CBSE class 10th view or you can go to the schedule itself beta. In this calendar view you will see that today is what? Today is 6th, right? Okay, so they are going to upload the same video on this 6th wala August, right? Upload the video on 6th of August where you can access the smart notes also. See, like it was present in the previous sessions. I'm not able to show you right now, but you can check it. Like, let's check it here. So here, coordinate geometry. Sir completed this on 5th. You will have the class slides from here. You will even have the quiz from here. And this is how we will access it on 6th of August. That is today. For the chapter Nationalism in Europe. Okay? The chapter is not yet over because I want to give you some practice questions that you will write in your copy strictly by me. Beta, 2 questions a day at least you have to write. I told you in the starting of the session itself. I told that to you in the starting of the session itself. So here are the questions. I will give you a brief about each of the question, what to write, what not to write. Okay? First question is, how did the people of France develop the sense of collective identity? Very easy, from where we started the chapter. By their ideas of La Patrie and Les Citoyens, there was a new tricolor French flag, right? A state general became the body of active citizens, now known as National Assembly. There was new hymn, new oath, as well as martyrs commemorated, a centralized administrative system, and French being promoted. 5 points, 5 marks. Okay. Next is, list the features of the Civil Code of 1804, popularly known as Napoleonic Code. Very easy. Okay. We'll talk about all the privileges on the basis of birth abolished by him, right to equality established by him, right to freedom established by him. You can also talk about removal of trade guild restrictions, improvement of transport and communication, making centralized system which abolished feudal system, serfdom, and provided the manorial, abolished the manorial dues too. Okay, so pay attention. Then next is, write a short note on Giuseppe Mazzini, already provided to you in the session. Language too played an important role in developing nationalist sentiments, beta. Here you will talk about Poland wala part, right? Here when it is asked language, you will write about Poland, and if I replace this language with culture, then you have to write the example from Germany, from that Karol Kurpinski, from again Polish language, and then third example you can give it Greece or something else which you wish. Okay? How did Romanticism seek to develop a particular form of nationalism? And give 3 examples. The same question which I am discussing right now. Okay? The next is about what was Frankfurt Parliament, who took the initiative, and what led to its failure. Okay? So what was Frankfurt Parliament, beta? We studied it very nicely that Frankfurt Parliament was a group, or it was a parliament convened by the middle class professionals, where they decided to form all German National Assembly. The elected representatives from this assembly on 18th May 1848 reached the Church of St. Paul and drafted the constitution, but it failed. Okay, so what led to its failure? 3 points. 1, the ruler declared. Who was the ruler? Prussian king was there. Okay? Tell me who was the ruler. The second is because of the middle class participants, and the third one is because women were treated merely as observers and no suffrage right was given to them. Get it? Next is, briefly explain the process of unification of Italy and Germany. Very, very important questions. VVIMP. The formation of Britain was not the result of sudden upheaval. Okay. Then we will talk about differently. Scottish distinctive culture and political institutions were systematically suppressed. Beta, start doing it from today. Every day, 2 questions a day. Every day you will be doing how many questions, beta? 2 questions a day. Okay, when you make this as a habit, you are going to rock in your exam for sure. Okay, so this is it from my side. This was a complete chapter. Let us have a glance at the chapter and the timeline which are important for you, what we studied today. So we started with the French Revolution and its aftermath impact. The first clear expression of nationalism, 1789. 1804, when Napoleon came into power, and with the power made his Napoleonic Code, popularly known as Civil Code, brought equality before law and right to property. One more event in the history, that is 1815 Treaty of Vienna, when Napoleon were defeated, was by the group of people and signed Treaty of Vienna in Austria, headed by an Austrian monarch. Who was he? Duke Metternich. Okay? After that, there is one more incident, 1821, which talks about Greek War of Independence. Greek became independent from Ottoman Empire. From Pecha, Ottoman Empire, after Treaty of Constantinople was signed. Then we have one more incident in 1830, popularly known as July Revolution, which again made France a constitutional monarchy. In the same year, after by the sparkled revolution, Belgium breaks away from question. You are going to answer in comment section. 1834, Zollverein, the Prussian custom union was formed. Again, the German region in which Prussia took the initiative for economic unification. We have one more, 1848, revolution across Europe. The Frankfurt Parliament popular. ठीक है? 1861, unification of Italy took place. Victor Emmanuel was crowned as the ruler. 1871, Germany became unified. Kaiser William II became the ruler. 1871, it is Balkan crisis. 1905, Slav nationalist surge in the Ottoman Empire. 1914, the First World War begins, and this is the entire, what we can say, timeline of the chapter. So students who are struggling with the years, here is the timeline that is made by me. This is how, when you end any history chapter, you should also recall it with the help of the timeline to be made. So the problem that, ma'am, how to remember dates will be solved by you, likewise like I did in this session. Okay, are you ready to do that or not? You have to, beta. So nationalism, once a force of liberation. See, that feeling of nationalism liberated France and brought that idea of liberty. It made Germany a unified nation, made Italy a unified nation, but the same nationalism resulted into that First World War and broke away that Frédéric Sorrieu's dream. Yes, the same person who made that image, right? The vision from where we started the chapter. This was all about complete chapter for rise of nationalism in Europe. Stay connected. Do not forget to hit the subscribe button for Diksha Vedantu CBSE English, because in the same way we will complete every chapter of your SST book. Bye-bye. Take care. All the best for your board examination you are going to sit in 2027. Bye-bye.